Good afternoon. Well, good morning. We're still morning here. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Good afternoon. We are back. We are back for a part two of a great discussion as it relates to the coverage of the YSL trial. And I'm joined once again with one of my very special guests, law professor, former prosecutor, criminal defense attorney, one of the smartest people I know in the universe. And that is the incredible, lovely attorney Akeisha Al-Shabazz. Good morning, counselor. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Dennis. I'm wonderful. I'm blessed. And
Man, we were a little tired the other night, so we had to get up out of there. But you're back. It was late. I was
listen, I'm always tired. Sleep escapes me.
I
But we
was
are
literally
back, and we did promise to come back. And
we did
so
promise.
yeah.
We were a day late, but we're not a dollar short.
No, not
We
at
do what we do.
all.
And quite
So there's no
honestly,
proceedings until till Monday anyway. There are no
no proceeds to
proceedings.
Monday. I mean,
So it's a
it
good
ended,
day to
it
catch
ended
up.
with a bang.
Right. And it's a good day to catch up.
A great day to catch up. And so I
And
want to ask the people
analyze.
to analyze absolutely. I want to ask the people that are here. They saw the coverage the trial yesterday, but we were covering the testimony of the previous day. Should we just go and talk about yesterday and kind of go backwards and then discuss early on, or do we want to lead up to it? We probably should
Let's
go back to the first.
recap. I think it would be fair. I think it's fair to recap day one. Let's talk a little bit about what his testimony was substantively. And then maybe we can move on until day two. Because he's still on direct examination. So he is not done. Direct examination, for those of you who are not sure, if the prosecutor is still questioning him. He is her witness. And so cross-examination has not even begun. And remember, there are 6 defense attorneys who are chomping at the bit to cross-examine this defendant. And I mean, I can't wait. It's going to be spicy. It's going to be good.
I would say the direct is probably going to go on for half the morning on Monday. I don't know if it's a lot you can do with the witness, but this particular witness, but we can talk about that. I want to bring that clip up because that was a very good clip, and I want to remind people that you remember where we left off on that one.
G12 said, "Yeah, what happened yesterday? Because Cat had all my attention." Cat blew up the internet. Cat Williams blew up the internet yesterday.
Right. Let's talk about Cat Williams real quickly. What do you think? Is he trolling all these comedians or what? What do you think?
I think Cat Williams is one of the last truth tellers. Right? That's what I think. I think he's one of the last surviving truth tellers. And he unapologetically will tell his truth. And he's allowed to do that. And everyone who has responded, what I've noticed is that they have responded, but they have not denied. They have not denied. Right? And I remember the joke from Cat Williams, Comic View, and I didn't make the connection to Cedric the Entertainer's joke when he did what was Kings of Comedy. I didn't see the connection until you put them side by side. Then I could say, okay, it does look like Cedric's. It does look like his joke was inspired by Cat's joke, although it is different substantively. The movements, the mannerisms, the body language, all of that was the same. And I don't do coincidences, because there are none. There are none. Right? And sure, 2 people can have the same idea, but to that extent, and I don't know. Said did say that's my joke. Of course, it's your joke. You were inspired to create your own version of that joke. So yeah, it's your joke now.
It's something about comedians who still other comedians work. It's just crazy. Like
but this has been done since the beginning of time. We how many comedians talk about how Robin what's his name?
Robin Williams?
No, Robin Williams. How much material he stole from Black comics. I mean, this is not new.
Yeah, it's not new, but Cat found the right platform. And his interview wasn't even an hour long, and it's trending. It's over 13. I personally think
D.L. Hughley, look how much his material is like with the Bay Kids comedian Harris.
Robin Harris. Right.
Robin Harris. I feel like he sort of took a lot of his mannerisms and sort of nuances. But who am I to say? These are just observations. They're not judgments. They're just observations. People that
respond, they all respond. It's like these hit dogs are howling all over the place.
Of course they are. Of course they
Even are. Ludacris. I'm like, Luda, what are you doing? No one is responding.
Hit dog does holler. What he said about Michael Blackson was terrible. But I never thought he was funny. I never found him to be funny. And I watched his show. He has a series on where he plays a teacher, like a substitute teacher or something, teaching inner city kids, and it's awful. It is awful. The writing is awful. The premise is awful. I see where you're trying to go, but I happen to agree. I don't think that he's funny at all. But I don't. It's the Cat didn't read 3,000 books in a year.
This one listen,
I don't know if he did it. He did, or he didn't, or maybe he was being hyperbolic. I don't know. What did he say? Something about being accepted to college at 7.
Right. Yeah, accepted to college at 7, being able to run a marathon.
I don't know that I believe that. I don't know that I believe that. As far as him running, I mean, he's 5'5" and the buck so looking wet. So
well, you're an athlete, so
what's his gravitational pull? he probably could do that. He probably could do that. This is what I'm saying. He probably could run that. Yeah, he's light. He's light as a feather. Rick Manigault said, "All lies, all lies, all lies."
Okay, so Ike, what we're going to do here is because the clip, I was in court yesterday, so I don't know that clip. It may be in my. We're going to go from yesterday, and we go backwards. So I have
yesterday. Okay, so let's recap really quickly. So yesterday, in the beginning, so are we picking up from where we left off yesterday?
Well, we're going yesterday, not the day before. Yeah. We're going to do yesterday's testimony from the very beginning.
Okay. All right. So this is Trontavious Stephens, guys. This is the co-defendant of Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, in the YSL trial. This is direct examination by Miss Love, continued from the previous day.
There we go, guys. We'll load it up. Boom, 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 boom. So for those who don't know, I was in the courtroom covering this, and so I had a very good opportunity.
All right, good morning, counsels, interested parties. We're back on the record in the matter of the state of Georgia versus Khalif Adams et al. In 22 SC 183572. Go ahead and take roll. Mr. Stillwell, Mr. Botts, Mr. Sharp. Good morning, gentlemen. Mr. Williams, Mr. Steele, Mr. Adams, and Ms. Renard. Good morning. All right, Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Weinstein, good morning. Good morning, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Huey, Mr. Matthews Sr. and Jr., good morning. Good morning. All right, Mr. Nichols, Mr. Harvey, Ms. Westmoreland, and Mr. Garner, good morning. And Mr. Ryan and Misty Williams, good morning. All right. I'm from the state, Ms. Love, Mr. Atkins, good morning, Mr. Smith, and Mr. Brown, good morning, counsel. Good morning, Your Honor. All right. Okay, so our name room, all our jurors here?
Yes, sir, Madam President.
Okay, all right. Just for housekeeping, I understand that we are going to go to at noon. Noon's a hard stop for us. And then what I will probably do, counsels, unless you have some strenuous objection to the contrary, is I will recess them until Monday morning, given the fact that I have other unrelated business. Veterans Court is my Friday to conduct that. So, much like I told them already, we'll just start back up Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Any issues? Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and summon our jurors, please. Yeah, you can bring Mr. Stephens in, please. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and summon our jurors, please. Yeah, you can bring Mr. Stephens in, please.
I can hear you. Is that your phone? What's happening?
Yeah, hold on. I don't know why that's doing that. Sorry.
Order in the court. You're not chewing gum, are you?
No, sir. I'm not getting kicked out.
All due further come forward.
Thank you, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, please proceed. Okay, all right. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. All right, sound good this morning. That means high level of caffeine and sugar. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead and get started, and then we're going to go to about noon. That's going to be our hard stop, and then I'll give you some more instructions on what our plans are at that point in time, okay? All right, so Ms. Love, you can continue with the examination of Mr. Stephens. Mr. Stephens, let me remind you, you're still under oath from yesterday? You're still under oath from yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Good morning, Mr. Stephens.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm kind of tired. I went straight to work from here yesterday, and then I got off at like 6, so I'm kind of tired.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're here safely. Now, you haven't had a chance to talk to anyone about your testimony and the court instructions, is that right?
Right. Correct.
And has anyone from our office reached out to you to do that?
No.
So do you remember when we stopped yesterday, we were talking about your ability to go from one place to another without getting permission to do so?
Yes.
From the person you had to report to?
Yes.
Who did you have to report to? What was the name of that person? Do you remember?
No.
And do you remember how it was that you were supposed to report?
No.
Do you remember how often you were supposed to report?
No.
So when you said yesterday, when you talked about getting permission to travel out of state because you were on, what was it that you were on?
I was on an ankle monitor.
And that ankle monitor, was that the result? What was that the result of?
Are you asking me the reason I had ankle monitor on?
I'm asking you why did you have to wear an ankle monitor?
Because I had a case pending.
You had a case pending,
Yes, I was, yeah.
and that was in 2015, correct?
Yes.
All right. So your pending case, what kind of case was that?
It was like a what kind of case was it?
G12, me too, kind of.
So I know my charge was material witness.
Okay. So, did you have a criminal case pending at that time?
I was arrested. Yes, I was arrested, so.
And did you have a criminal case pending at that time with anyone in this courtroom?
No. I don't recall. I don't remember.
Do you recall having a criminal case with Shannon Stillwell?
Yes.
When was that?
Around 2015.
So was that the pending case that you were wearing the ankle monitor for?
No.
Okay. There was a different one in 2015?
Yes.
All right. And when you got the pending case with Shannon Stillwell, did you and Shannon have in the car with you a stolen gun?
Yes.
And was that around July 15th of 2015?
Yes.
Why is she leaving him all over the place?
So the case with Shannon Stillwell with the stolen gun occurred after you all had gone to the compound when Little Wayne was present. Is that right? When was your birthday?
In April. Yes, that's right.
Now, when you say that you couldn't travel outside or you couldn't do certain things because of your ankle monitor, what type of things could you not do because of your ankle monitor?
I sustain the objection.
Where were you not allowed to go because of your ankle monitor?
So,
The same question.
I don't remember the
Am I confusing?
exact conditions of my ankle monitor, but I do know that I couldn't leave the state.
Did you ask to leave the state?
No.
Did you know whether with permission you could be given permission to leave the state?
So it was clear upon getting the house arrest monitor that I would not be, I just remember this part, that I would not be permitted to travel until the case was over.
Before we go further, I was looking at what a commenter said, and I would kind of agree with her. She was saying that he was given more yesterday than he was the day earlier. So do you think the prosecutors told his attorney he's about to mess his deal up and he's turning it up somewhat?
No, I think he saw some comments on the internet and realized that he might want to change his testimony.
Wow.
He might want to be less accommodating. Because I thought he was more accommodating to her on the first day.
You think so?
Then I do.
Okay.
I do. Now he's there. All you're getting is I don't recall. He at least was attempting to answer the questions, even if he was making jokes like, I need your hand. Give me your hand. At least he made the signs. He did, he answered the questions, even if it was a roundabout sort of way. Here, he's not answering the questions. And you'll see when we get to the end, well, he's not even going to indulge her with the meaning of snitch.
Absolutely.
So, I saw a different shift. I'm not sure. You saw a shift that he was giving more on the second day.
In some instances, I was like, oh man, I don't know if this is going to help the defense, but also he just.
I don't think he's given more than what's asked. Actually, I'm not. That's not my observation.
Okay.
But
okay.
Where are we seeing? Where do you see that, Star? Let's look at that, because I don't see that.
Let's go.
Yesterday he was not good on the stand.
You called it just now a house arrest monitor.
He doesn't want to be good. But he was better yesterday for the prosecution than he is now.
Okay, we're gonna, and ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna have the opportunity to see us analyze the day before.
Which is why her questions are so bad. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Would you explain what you meant by that?
So it's a monitor that monitors you.
Why did you call it a house arrest monitor? Were you under house arrest?
I don't know if I was up on a house arrest. No, I couldn't have been up on a house arrest.
Okay. And you say that why?
Because I don't recall no one telling me that I had to stay in the house.
Okay. And so when you said house arrest monitor a minute ago, you don't know why you said that?
No, it's just a term.
Right.
So yesterday when you were talking about the amount of money that you had to pay to get into the compound,
Yes.
where did you get that money from?
By it being my birthday, I was receiving gifts in forms of cash from family members, friends, loved ones.
And when you and your YSL friends were going to the compound, did you all communicate with one another?
When we was going to the compound?
Yes.
Yes.
How did you all communicate with one another?
By mouth? Is that what you asked?
Were there members of YSL in the car with you?
Yes.
Who was in the car with you?
Shannon Jackson and I think D.
Tell me who D is, or tell the jury who D is.
You want me to tell his name? Like, I know D.
I do.
I know D.
Do you know his name?
I don't want to like get it mistaken or nothing. I'm
Tell
gonna
the
get
jury, to the best of your recollection, who D is.
his name is Demikian.
Demikian Garlington?
Yes.
Was he also known as 30 Deep D?
Yes, I guess so.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Now, did you know at the time who 30 Deep was?
Did I know who 30 Deep was?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I heard.
And who was 30 Deep, or what was 30 Deep?
It was a neighborhood and
That's hearsay.
Your Honor,
I'm gonna overrule the objection.
thank you.
Of course he is.
You may answer.
a neighborhood in the Southside community.
30 Deep was a neighborhood?
It was, yes.
It was a neighborhood, okay. Was it also a gang?
I don't know if they went by being a gang.
What neighborhood was 30 Deep?
Mechanicsville.
And is it your testimony that when you say a neighborhood, what are you talking about?
An area in Atlanta.
So 30 Deep was called, when you wanted to go a certain place, you would say, let's go to 30 Deep?
Objection. Who is you?
No.
So then, how is it a neighborhood? How are you calling it a neighborhood?
Objection, Your Honor. Foundation.
Relevant.
I'll sustain the objection. You may will lay a little more foundation. Okay.
If you call 30 Deep a neighborhood, do you mean that it's a place?
Yes.
So based on that, if you wanted to go to the place where 30 deep was, would you then say, let's go to 30 deep?
I don't know how people will say that they'll go.
Exactly.
Me?
That's why I said.
I wouldn't say that.
Why not?
Objection, why?
That's not like no.
Argumentative. You can't ask somebody why.
No, that's not a terminology I would use. I knew the area,
Right.
zone 3. I'd probably say, let's go to a different part of zone 3.
So then, when you said that 30 deep is a place, a neighborhood, and it's not something you ever refer to as that place, where are you getting from that it's a neighborhood or a place?
Objection.
Because that's where
Form. Horrible question. Unbelievable.
that's where they was known out of, the area.
They. Who is the they that you're
The
referring to?
30 deep that you, the 30 deep.
You refer.
So 30 deep is a group of people.
Yeah,
It's a game?
I don't know.
But Demekion Darlington was 30 deep.
Yeah.
Was
I know, Star, but you still gotta make the objection.
That was his Instagram.
Gotta your record. Gotta
So-
protect the record.
So right there, he was, I won't say dancing around, but she was trying to pinpoint that 30 deep is just more than just a neighborhood, but there are people who are labeled 30 deep because they're from that neighborhood. Now, I don't know where she's going with 30 deep. I think I saw a reference to that in the indictment. But let's see if she's, and that's what Star was saying. He slipped up there. I don't know if he slipped up for slipped up. I won't say slipped up. This is his testimony, but she was successful in getting him to at least say that 30D could be recognized as a group of people. Would you agree?
Right. Yes. It took 11 questions, but yes.
Handle, yes.
How often would you say that you associated with Demekion Darlington?
Rarely.
How often?
Rarely, I'm sorry. Rarely.
How often did you associate with Jeffrey Williams?
Often. A lot.
Did you also associate with Walter Murphy?
Often.
How often did you associate with Shannon Stillwell?
Often.
Now, when you were...
Okay, so 3 oftens. Stillwell's charged with 2 murders. He says often. Young Thug is a recording artist, heavily in the music business. So if I was a juror, I would say, why is this multimillionaire associating with this guy who obviously is admitted to commit multiple crimes? You see what's happening here?
Yeah, but that backfires because don't we all know someone who's done something awful? And simply because we know them?
But we don't hang out with them often.
Is that all it takes?
No, but I said we don't hang out with them often. If we're on a different path, a different plane, we're trying to make this YSL or this
timing matters, though. This is the problem I'm having. The time frame that she's talking about is what? 2015?
Right.
Is that the time frame? Because I'm not sure, and I don't know if the witness is sure. And is she talking about at that time? Were you hanging out with him often? And when did the murders occur? I don't know when the murders occurred in this case.
Absolutely.
Right? Well, are you talking about after when YSL blew up and you're on tour and everybody's? Is that often? That's not clear to me.
That's a good point.
And so maybe that will be clarified on cross-examination. She's leaving so much room for the defense to come in and patch up every hole she thinks she's created here, right? And to be able to make this defendant simply say, listen, there was a time in my life where I was on some buck wild, I did a robbery here because I was trying to eat. Ain't had nothing to do with YSL. Ain't had nothing to do with Rock Crew. We ain't split the proceeds. I ain't get him half the bread. I paid my rent. And then, you know what I mean? So she's given the defense the opportunity to have this witness come on here and blow the RICO right out the door. Because listen, the point of questions are to establish facts that prove the elements of your case. And in a nutshell, at its bare bones, right? The question should establish facts that prove your case. These questions do not do that. They do not do that. Asking him how he remembers one thing but not remember another thing is not a question that establishes any kind of fact.
Exactly. It's almost
which is
like
why
she's
it's
trying to
objectionable. In fact, it challenges a fact that has already been established, which makes it argumentative. Right? Because if he says, hey, I remember this, but I don't remember that, and she challenges the memory, the facts that she just had him establish. Well, how do you remember that? That's argumentative. Objection.
Right.
And you can't do that to your own witness. You can't impeach your own witness. I don't hear that objection either. And some of what she's doing is impeaching her own witness. So much of this examination is incorrect and improper. And I don't know that they have properly preserved the record. I hope that they do. Like when she starts handing him things to read, I'm sorry, there's no question. You can't do that. You can't just say, here, just read this as in evidence. No. You can't do that unless the person says, hey, I don't remember. Right? Then there's a procedure. Even then, it has to be a procedure. You have to lay a foundation. Oh, you don't recall? Okay. Do you recall giving testimony or having a statement at some other time? That is how you refresh somebody's recollection. She's not doing that. And the defense is letting her get away with it because the judge keeps batting them down. The problem is they have to keep standing up. It's your record.
Say that part right there.
It's your appeal. Because if you do not object, you know what that means? It's not preserved. It's not preserved. And your objection has to be specific. It has to be specific. You have to say badgering. You have to say argumentative. You have to say this witness is on direct. This is impeachment. You have to say this is not the proper foundation for recollection recorded. If that's what she's, or for recollection refreshing. If that's what she's doing. And stop letting her run roughshod.
To your point, we have seen this judge in particular, I would say, berate some of the lawyers in the courtroom. Even yesterday, Attorney Maxwell was trying to argue his objection, and you had other attorneys. And this, you've been in this position, I'm sure, probably many times.
Yes.
You have six lawyers in the courtroom. They're all hearing certain things, so they all had to stand up. Objection, Your Honor. So his argument is that the court reporter can't take it down. So what he does is the referee is say, I'm gonna take your objection first. I'm gonna take yours next. That way, but they all have to say the objection together, so the judge knows that there's a objection from all counsel, and then you have to decide who you're gonna give their objection first. I don't think who's first.
That's not true. That's not true. He's only doing that if you have the same objection.
Right.
If you have the same objection, then you don't need to repeat it. But if you have a different objection, he is giving the attorneys an opportunity to lodge a different objection than one that might be made. I've seen him do that, right? And I've even seen him say, you know what, and I'll sustain on that objection. I've even seen him do that.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you can't be afraid to piss him off if you're doing it respectfully. Judge, I'm sorry. I have to object right here. If someone has already made that objection, you don't need to make it again. But if you have a different basis, then you have to make that objection.
I've also seen him, because I'm in the courtroom and you're hearing this. He's when one attorney's made an objection, and then another one's made one, overrule. Wait, let him finish the objection. The lawyer tries to explain it, and it's like he's a very intimidating figure, and you can see that just based on what's happening in this trial in the preliminaries. And these lawyers.
There's a way that you handle that, though. So here's how you handle that. You say, Judge, most respectfully, I need to make a record, because no judge wants it on the record that he's denying you an opportunity to make a record, right? So even if he says you can't make it now, when this witness is done or whatever may have you, come back to the point and say, Judge, I want to make a record about that objection. The court did overrule my objection, but I want it on the record that I was objecting because, and the court did not allow me to put that on the record at the time. You could do that outside the presence of the jury, but make sure you get it on the record. Your job is to protect that record. And he can't, what is he going to say if there's no jury there? He's going to say, no, you can't make your record? Can you say, Judge, I want it for the record that you won't let me make a record. I want the record to show that you're not letting me make a record. I don't think that that's what he wants the world to see. I don't really think that's what he wants to see. And you just have to do it respectfully. Have all deference to the court, but protect your record vigorously.
All right. Said a lot there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Speaking about on the way to the compound, you talked with YSL members. What did you all talk about in the car?
I never said we had a car conversation.
What did you talk about on the way to the compound?
That we was going to continue club hopping until all the clubs gone. Till all the clubs closed. It's my birthday, we celebrate.
What time did you all set out to celebrate?
There wasn't no initial celebration time. The whole day was a celebration.
Were you all at clubs the whole day?
Yes.
What clubs had you gone to before the compound?
Yes, Mark.
Magic City.
The judge reminded her.
And did you directly to the compound from Magic City?
We went to a lot of different clubs. That was like 10 years ago. I can't recall the exact movements, but I know we went to a lot of different clubs.
Did you go to the studio? Any studio before the compound?
No.
Did you go to the studio after the compound?
I don't recall. I don't know. I think I was trying to get home to my girl after the club. I don't recall.
Did you talk with anyone in particular on the way to the compound?
I don't recall.
While you were in the car with Dee and Shannon, and incidentally, you said Shannon Jackson. Is Shannon Jackson in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Would you please tell the jury where he is?
In the far back with brown and the glasses on.
Is he seated next to a gentleman with white hair and a gentleman with no hair?
Yes.
Your Honor, if the record would reflect that the witness has identified Shannon Stillwell.
It shall.
Thank you. Okay. So, how long were you in the car with Shannon and Dee on the way to the compound?
However long it took to get from one club to the next one.
Okay, so could you give the jury an estimate?
Roughly 20, 30 minutes, I don't know.
Whose car were you all in?
It was a rental car, my rental car.
A rental car?
Yeah,
Who was driving?
I was.
Who rented it?
I did.
Where'd you rent it from?
Not from an initial rental company. It was from like an owner of the vehicle.
Okay. And what kind of car was it?
It was a Mercedes-Benz.
During the 20 or 30 minutes that you were in the car with Shannon and Dee on the way to the compound, what did you all talk about?
Objection, Your Honor. That's stated.
I'll overrule the objection.
You may.
I don't recall too much talking. I ain't gonna lie, I was smoking weed and drinking liquor. It was my birthday, I was celebrating.
Was everybody in the car smoking weed and drinking liquor?
I was,
And you were the driver?
yes.
So how did smoking weed and drinking liquor, how does that affect your ability to remember today what happened that night?
Objection. Did he say you did?
How did smoking weed and drinking liquor
That's
affect?
argumentative.
But the better question is, you said you were smoking weed and drinking liquor. Does that have any kind of significance in your testimony today while I'm asking
Oh,
you a
she
question?
realized that.
So,
Realized that her question
from my
was
understanding, your
improper.
initial question was, did you guys have conversations or were you talking to each other on the way? And my response was that basically I was vibing, listening to music, smoking weed, and drinking liquor. So I don't recall any like exact conversations.
Not exact. Do you recall any parts of what you all were talking about?
I don't recall.
So did the smoking weed and drinking liquor, is that what impaired your ability to recall today?
Objection.
Objection, Your Honor. This is 8 years ago.
Your Honor, I object.
Remember, I told you no speaking, okay? What's the basis for relevance? What is it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Relevant.
I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Your Honor, with the court's indulgence, I have a follow-up question that relates to that prior question that I was
Well, let's
creating
get
a
to let's
basis
get
for.
to it.
So if the smoking weed and drinking liquor kept you from remembering today certain things,
Objection.
how is it that you were able to recall the length of time that you were inside the compound yesterday?
Objection.
I never said
Form.
that
Argumentative.
smoking
Badgering.
weed
It's all.
or drinking liquor had me forget what I was saying. I said I recall smoking weed, drinking liquor, and vibing out to the music. That's what was my answer.
So now my question is, did smoking weed and drinking liquor affect your ability to remember things from that night?
He already answered that.
The length of years ago that this particular thing we're talking about is the reason.
I'm asking about the smoking weed.
You know what, Ike, the fact that she's really badgering him to remember one detail but not remember another detail, it's human nature. Why? She's not a psychologist.
She's
She
like a
cannot
dog with a bone. She doesn't know when to let it go. Let it go. You're not establishing any fact here. And this is my problem as an attorney. There's no relevant fact that you need to go after him on this particular issue. What are you trying to establish by asking him 6, 7 different times about the conversation they had in the car? What are you trying to establish? He said he doesn't, it was no conversation as far as he can recall. It was no conversation. I was vibing. I was smoking. I was drinking. I was in my element. It was no conversation. So how does smoking and drinking affect your ability to remember things to today? Where you get that from? He didn't say any of that. And so
it's like she's impeaching him.
I don't know what's happening. I'm like, I don't get it.
Well, let's see.
No.
I don't know why the judge is allowing it, and I don't know why they're not objecting.
So how is it that you remembered the 30 minutes you were in the compound?
Because
Objection. Argument. That's argumentative. Calls for an operation.
very familiar with the Atlanta area. I grew up here. I'm born here, and
Weed does not affect everyone's memory,
I know
Mark.
how much time it takes to get from
Definitely.
one place to another.
No. Yesterday, I talked about how long
It
you
had
been
any effect
inside
on
the
his memory.
compound.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
remember
pause.
him saying the weed had any effect on his memory.
Right. He never said that. Where's she getting that from? Where's she getting that from?
I don't remember him saying that. I remember him saying when she's trying to ask him about the conversation, and he's like, I don't remember there being a conversation. I was drinking, I was smoking. She's taking him literal. Now this is where we got African American vernacular coming into play, right? He's saying, I was drinking and I was smoking. I don't really remember a conversation. She's taking it literally that he's saying he doesn't recall. But that's not what he's saying. He's saying that there was no conversation. I was just vibing. And
So,
that's a problem. Why doesn't she get that?
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you
Am
hit
I off
the
on that, people? Am I off on that? Or is that
well,
is that the translation you got too? Because I'm not getting him saying he doesn't remember because he was high.
so Star has this question for you. You see the question?
Yes, I think it's getting there. I think it's getting there. I think she started out likable, but I think that she's starting to become more and more unlikable as this trial progresses. And I think that people discount the effect that likability has on a jury. They tend to believe you when they like you. They tend to disbelieve you if they don't. These are intangible things that happen in the courtroom that have nothing to do with how well you can formulate a question, right? This is things that you have to think about. These are the intangibles, your appearance and your demeanor and how you are coming across in the courtroom. She's coming across like she's a bully and she's judge number 2. Like there's even been times where the defense has objected and she's almost ruling on their objection. You know, they're like objection leading. She's like, no.
Right. No, well, hold on.
What
You are
the
the
hell?
judge.
Right. You don't even get to respond to my objection. I'm gonna need you to not do that, please, Miss Love. Right? That's crazy. I saw even in the comments on the Law and Crime where this is streaming from, some of the viewers there were like, well, now we're calling her Miss Hate. She's not Miss Love anymore. They're calling her Miss Hate. And that's not what you want. That's not what you want.
Right.
And because this is not a crime where you have a spark of life witness somewhere, right? That I know about. I don't know. Maybe they do have. So there is a murder allegation somewhere. Maybe they do have a spark of life where you're going to have an opportunity to evoke some emotion, right? And show how these acts affect real people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know if she has that. If she doesn't have that, and she only has witnesses like this, we're going to get on the stand and say, I used to be part of this crew and I did this back in the day. I don't think that's going to carry it to a guilty verdict. I just don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Here we go. Let's go. Let's see here. You know, I gotta be careful. We don't want to go all the way back.
Right. Why you just can't pause and unpause? What's the problem is?
Here we go.
Do you remember how long you told the jury you were inside the compound?
Yes.
And how long was that?
When I say about 30 to a half hour, yeah, something.
So how do you remember that you were inside the compound for about 30 minutes?
Objection.
No, I'm gonna overrule. That was Mr. Steele.
No.
I'm overruling the objection, sir.
What was the basis? What did he say the basis was? Stop it.
I remember that by.
What did he say? You guys, did you hear what Steele said? Dennis, you was in the courtroom.
I think it was foundation, but we can play it back. I just don't want to rewind.
That don't sound like the right basis.
Okay, so let's go back.
Right.
Tab that. Hold
Go
on.
ahead.
I'm gonna take it back to 20 right there. Hold on.
Yes.
And how long was that?
When I say about 30 to a half hour, yeah, something.
So how do you remember that you were inside the compound for about 30 minutes?
No, I'm gonna overrule. That was Mr. Steele. I'm overruling the objection, sir.
Okay. Wrong basis.
I
Said
remember that by being
right?
upset.
So it's not relevance. It's argumentative and it's badgering.
When
And
he
it calls
preserved
for
the-
an operation of the mind.
Right. And he preserved the record.
About the amount of money that I paid to get in and the length of time that I spent being in the party.
And you said you spent $500 to get in?
Sustained.
Do you remember how much money you told the jury that you spent to get in yesterday?
Yes.
I sustain the objection.
Already asking him?
So was that all of your birthday money?
Why is she even trying?
Overruled.
I don't remember how much money I had on me.
Was that also because of the length of time it spent?
Yes.
Do you consider $500 a lot of money or not a lot of money?
Overruled.
Relevant.
$500 is a lump sum of money.
That's a lot.
You can pay a bill with $500.
I agree, but do you consider it a lot of money?
Anything you can pay a bill with, that's a lot of money.
Okay. So,
I would object
did
to
you
her
plan to
commentary.
spend that lot of
I
money
agree.
that night on the compound?
Overruled. Remember what I told you, one at a time.
He's ridiculous.
I didn't make any plans. I just planned on enjoying myself for the night.
Did you know prior to going the cost of getting into the compound?
No.
Did you know prior to going how long the artist Lil Wayne was going to be at the compound?
No.
And when you got to the compound, did you ask whether or not Lil Wayne was still performing inside the compound?
Leading.
I'm sorry, did you say
Leading.
that?
Leading.
Yes. Relevance.
Overruled, sir.
How about leading?
Did I ask anyone? No.
Did you try to find out in any way whether he was still performing?
No.
So when you get up to the compound and you're in the car with Shannon and Dee, what do Shannon and Dee do when you go up to the door, the entryway to the compound?
I don't know.
Objection. Films fact not in evidence.
Oh, I'll sustain the objection.
I don't recall.
Hold on.
Oh, my bad.
Hold on. Let her pose another question to you, okay? All right.
Does Shannon and Dee go to the door of the compound with you?
I don't recall.
Is your inability to recall for any reason in particular?
Objection.
The length of
Argumentative.
time it was ago, it was a long time ago.
I did not hear one
don't
argumentative
remember
objection from that
everything
defense
step by
at
step.
all. I did not hear one. I have not heard one. Not one argumentative, not one badgering, not one. What the fuck are they doing?
So for those people who don't know, the compound is a nightclub that was owned and operated by AG Entertainment or Alice Giddywan, who's one of the biggest concert promoters now in the country. So he would book all the main acts like Jay-Z, Diddy, Lil Wayne, and $500 is not a lot of money to get into one of his parties if you're trying to go through a VIP situation. So $500, like he said, is a lot of money, but when you have people paying $10,000 for a table just to get a bottle service and maybe 2 bottles and maybe 10 glasses. Yeah, it's but that and
Right,
actually
but for him to say $500 is a lot of money, and for her to say I agree, that's improper. It's inappropriate. It's you commentary that you should not be having, and how come they're not objecting to it? Another thing.
So what is the danger of doing that?
I don't need the prosecutor testifying about her pocketbook.
Right. And I think it's part of the reason why
you alienate the jury.
Okay.
That happened that night, so no.
Do you remember how you got home?
Yes.
How'd you get home?
I drove.
What did you drive?
The Mercedes-Benz.
Was there anyone in the car with you?
I don't remember step by step.
How do you remember who you came with but don't remember who you left with?
Again, argumentative.
That was a long time ago.
Did you communicate with any other YSL members while you were at the compound? Not on the way, but while you were at the compound.
I recall telling I'm finna go in the club.
Did you communicate with any other YSL members any more than to say the words, I'm about to go into the club?
That's the only thing I recall.
Do you recall members of YSL saying anything to you without telling the jury what they said?
I don't recall.
Did you tell us yesterday whether Jimmy Winfrey was one of the YSL members that went with you to the compound as a group?
No.
And was Jimmy Winfrey one of the YSL members that went to the compound?
He was there, yes.
Do you remember what he was driving?
Objection to facts not in evidence. Who said he was driving anything? Was there
You
testimony?
see too much when you see your mama cry. Every tear that fell caught a homicide, and it ain't too many.
Was there testimony
That was a long time ago.
Again.
Is that a yes or a no?
It was a long time. Oh no.
I'm sorry?
No.
And Walter Murphy, the Walter Murphy that you spoke about associating with often, was Walter Murphy one of the YSL members at the compound?
I would object to the form because she's concluding that these people are YSL
So it was a
members.
large group. I don't
She
recall
shouldn't be allowed
everyone
to
who
do
was
that.
with us from the
She should
length
only
of
be allowed
time
to
that
say,
it was.
was Walter Murphy there? She should not be allowed to say, was YSL member
Understanding that
Walter
you
Murphy
may not
there?
recall every single person.
See, that's slick shit.
My only question right now is, do you recall whether Walter Murphy was one of the people, one of the YSL members?
Right, that's appropriate.
No, I don't
Whether
recall
just
from
Walter Murphy was.
the length of years ago it was.
So, do you recall what time you left the compound?
I don't recall.
Do you recall exactly where you went after the compound?
I don't recall.
When you spoke yesterday about the thing that you were not involved with,
Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. We always take a time out to calm down, Gold Crown. Is this one of your people, Ike?
Yeah.
This one of your people? Yeah. I know it's one of your people. Don't come over here trolling now. We'll put you on Front Street.
Troll. My people don't troll.
You see, I kept up with that comment.
That's funny.
Let me get up out of here.
He already established in his plea deal that he was the YSL. Right, he was, but I don't know that he established everybody else was. Right? He could say, I'm a YSL member in his plea deal, but I don't know that he's established that everyone else is also. Is that William Murphy person? Is that person also a co-defendant? Is he also separately charged, waiting for trial?
He might.
He's not on this one.
No, he's not on this one.
Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, I would have to go back and see if he's on the indictment. But even if he is, that has yet to be established. Right? It hasn't been proven beyond a reasonable doubt as far as William Murphy is concerned and the rest of the YSL people. She doesn't get to conclude that for the jury. That's my problem. Right, exactly. And it's slick. It's slick. Because if you're not paying attention, you're not going to catch it.
Well, if you recall early on in the trial, she tried to get some slides in that didn't go to the defense.
Right. Which is why they should be, which is what exactly. She's been trying the slick stuff from the beginning of this trial. So why wouldn't they be, listening to the way she constructs her questions, listening to all of that? I'd be on it, doggone it.
Because she's done it several times, slip stuff in. How you not send the attorneys the slides before you make the presentation to the witness? And that
there's no way you can't tell me that wasn't deliberate. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way. He said YSL is a gang. I never heard him say that. I never heard him say why. I heard him say YSL was a record label. Mark Nash, did you see the testimony? I know that his plea. Or are you talking about what he said in his plea? That YSL is a gang?
Because
I'm sure he had to say that in his plea.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah, we're gonna go through
I'm sure he said that in his plea. Right.
We're gonna go through the line items,
right?
Surely,
but it's right.
Here we go.
And then to clarify, as Lil Wayne bust you, where were you when that happened?
I don't know the exact time that it happened, so I don't know where I was.
What do you know about it?
Other than what I heard and seen, nothing.
What did you see?
We know anything about it.
I seen on the internet.
Did he say he saw something? Oh God, I hate it.
The artist had his butt shot.
Did you join up with any other YSL members after you left the compound?
I don't recall.
Oh, we about to see you, baby.
Can you tell the jury how it is you recall that you all went to the compound as a group, but don't recall whether you all left together?
Badgering, form,
Overruled.
Argumentative.
Can I tell the jury one more time?
Can you tell the jury how it is you remember you all went to the compound as a group?
I don't know why I would possibly
but you can't
let her ask
recall
this question.
whether you left or who you left with?
Totally unsound.
No, I cannot explain that to the jury.
Can you tell the jury what you talked about, if anything at all, with YSL members after you left the compound?
No, I don't recall.
Did you call Jimmy Winfrey at the time, Jimmy?
No.
What'd you call him?
Roscoe.
Is Roscoe the same person known as Pee Wee Roscoe?
Yes.
Leading, objection, hello.
Did you ever wear any articles of clothing that said Free Roscoe?
I don't recall.
Did you ever see YSL members wearing shirts that says Free Roscoe?
If I'm not mistaken.
That's a yes or no, please. And then you can explain.
I agree, Mikey.
I was trying to answer the question. So I can't give you a yes or no because I think that I was in prison at the time. I think I was in the prison at that time and he was locked up, if I'm not mistaken, or in jail.
So do you know when it is that you went to prison?
Yes,
When?
in 2015.
What part of 2015?
I don't remember the exact dates.
So, understanding that you believe you were in prison at the time Jimmy Winfrey was locked up, my question to you is a slightly different one. Do you recall seeing YSL members wearing merch or shirts with Free Roscoe on?
I don't recall.
Are you aware of the existence of YSL merch that says Free Roscoe?
I don't recall. That was a long time ago, man.
Do you know why or what it was that Roscoe was locked up for when that Free Roscoe merch came out?
Concerns facts not in evidence.
I sustain the objection. You can refer it now.
Are you aware of the Free Roscoe merch?
Yeah, I mean that.
I'll sustain the objection.
When you spoke about Roscoe, when you said that you believe you were in prison at the time Roscoe was locked up, how do you know what time Roscoe was locked up?
What form?
I don't.
Then why do you believe you were in prison at the time Roscoe was locked up?
Argumentative.
Because of the allegations happened in 2015, and that's when I went to prison in 2015.
I'm sorry. I don't know what allegations you're talking about. So could you please tell us?
So, the initial incident
What initial incident?
that you're speaking about,
I'm just asking you about Roscoe and Free Roscoe. So what are you talking about?
you asked
Objection.
No.
What the fuck?
No what?
to your
Do
question.
that. What?
Since I just asked you what you were talking about, how is no the
I
answer?
can't take it.
To your initial question,
Which question is that you're considering my initial question?
you asked me,
This is terrible.
did I know?
If condescending was a person,
Why isn't the defense objecting right now? None of this is appropriate. There isn't a question outstanding. She's literally badgering this witness at this point. She's standing way too close to him. It doesn't look like she's at the podium. Where is she? Where is she physically?
she's literally.
I wouldn't be objecting to all of this.
Right.
Like, Judge, can you ask Miss Love to return to the podium? Because I think that her presence is intimidating to the witness.
Right.
I'm objecting to that.
Ike, the jury's literally, when she's standing there, that's where the jurors are right there. And he's literally 2 feet away, if 2 feet away, or 2 feet away from the jury.
That's not cool. That's not good. This is crazy.
And if you guys watch the video, just watch it. And Ike, you explain to me why you believe that the sheriff was standing behind him. But as we see here, the sheriff hasn't been behind him throughout this part of the testimony. So why then was he after the break behind him? Was that to intimidate him? Or what? Because he was not behind him here now. And the jury's literally, he'll take the sheriff's seat is right behind alongside this wall. So now he's standing up in the camera shot, because we see all this. He's standing up in the camera shot behind him, and he keeps the witnesses keep turning around because he hears them behind him. He hears them behind him. So you got him standing behind. The optics of the jury literally seeing him stand behind the witness is intimidating. But this guy's out on. he's not even on bond. He's on probation. So he's going in and out.
Right.
He's not incarcerated or anything. But you're standing behind
Right.
this guy. This guy's not trying to do anything to mess up his freedom. He's going to jump on the judge and let the judge's dog Jack attack him. No, he's not trying
Right.
to do that. It's just kind of weird. Anyway, let's go.
It's frustrating.
When Roscoe was locked up.
To listen to this.
So once again, what incident is it that you're talking about when you made reference to the initial incident just now?
Objection form.
The incident surrounding the tour bus shooting.
What?
The incident surrounding the tour bus shooting?
Are you talking about the Lil Wayne bus shooting?
Yes.
What does that have to do with when Roscoe was locked up?
You asked
Objection
me,
called for a narrative.
did I know when I was locked up? Did I know when he was locked up? I think that was the question.
My only question is, what does the Lil Wayne bus shooting have to do with when Roscoe was locked up?
Objection, confusing. So look, here's the other thing, Dennis. Dennis, pause for a second.
Yeah, I did.
So I know that we are laughing about this witness, and some people have called him, dumb and things of that nature. He's not too bright, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, or he is a brilliant actor / genius, right?
Yes.
And if the latter is true, right? If the latter is true, then the defense should cue him. When they object, it's clear that he's confused, right? So defense, that question is confusing.
Absolutely.
And then he's going to say, it's confusing. I don't understand it. He's not that dumb, but he clearly is confused.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that's because
this whole exchange is confused. Exactly. The whole exchange is if she's asking him, so I'm talking about this. What are you talking about? Like what is that? What, I don't know what that is. That's not direct examination. That's craziness in court. That's what that is. He's playing dumb. I think he's playing dumb too. I really think he's playing dumb. I don't think he's dumb at all. And I, like I said, I can't wait for this cross because I think he's gonna give the people what they want.
Right. Let's go.
I don't know. I got from the question that you was initially talking about the incident, so I didn't understand.
So what I'm asking you is, why did you bring up the Lil Wayne bus shooting when I was asking you about Roscoe being locked up?
Objection, argumentative.
He's answered the question.
Argumentative.
Remember, what's your base for the objection, Mr.
Asked and answered.
Matthews? All right, I'll stand in objection.
Argumentative. They don't. It's like they only know a couple objections. You
Was
only
Roscoe
know
locked up for shooting up the Lil Wayne bus?
expand your objection repertoire.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a beast.
And Roscoe is a member of YSL, is that right?
Yes.
All right. And is that the same Roscoe that went to the compound with you all as a group, with YSL as a group?
Yes.
All right. And was the whole gang of YSL as big a Lil Wayne fan as you talked about yesterday?
Sure.
I stand sustain objection.
Who all was it?
I sustain objection already. All right, you need to
I'm asking a
rephrase
different
that.
question.
Okay.
Thank you. Would you tell the jury what members of YSL that went with you in this group to the compound were actual fans of Lil Wayne?
If any, leading.
Call for speculation.
One at a time. Okay, look. One at a time, please. Well, if you see somebody else to rise, you should rise when you make an objection anyway, so we can see you. because Miss Weaver can't take down this, and she told you that yesterday. So if somebody else doesn't make an objection, and somebody else can rise and make a timely objection, but I have to acknowledge you for the purposes of taking this down. Can't take down 3 people at once, so I'm not going to do that.
Likely Monday.
So, Mr. Matthews, since you made the objection, I've ruled upon it. Do you have a separate objection, sir, Mr. Sharp?
I didn't hear rule, but there was speculation. I didn't hear this next.
Well, listen up, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, you may rephrase it.
Do you remember talking about being a fan of Lil Wayne yesterday?
Yes.
And do you remember telling the jury why it is that YSL went to the compound?
Yes.
What today is your memory of what you told the jury about why YSL went to the compound?
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
Basis.
Objection.
It's a vague question. YSL is not a person.
Overruled, sir.
Your Honor, may I have an
That's
objection?
not the
Yes, you may.
basis.
403, Your Honor.
Improper
overruled.
impeachment.
Overruled, sir.
So, I never said anything about anyone being a fan. I said that was an inspiration to the start of the music career. I said he inspired the music career, and I said he was an idol.
Okay, before we get into everything you said, let me make sure I heard you right. Did you say you never said anyone was a fan?
I said that he inspired the music career.
Just now I'm talking about.
Yes.
Did you just say that you never said anybody was a fan?
I don't recall saying that.
Okay. To your knowledge, was any YSL member a
Okay, so what I see just was established is that he doesn't have a good memory. He could have said it yesterday, but he doesn't remember today. So how do you expect the same witness to remember what happened 8 years ago if he can't remember what his testimony was a day earlier? So it does, and that doesn't harm him more so than it shows that
it harms her. It's her witness.
Right.
But I don't see her making any connection. I'm going back to again, right? Because if we think about this, I have to think about this academically, right? You're a prosecutor. I'm a former prosecutor. Your job is to establish facts that satisfy the elements of the crimes charged. He's charged with a RICO. You have to establish that there was an organization created for the purpose of this type of criminal activity, to engage in activity, to control this particular area through drugs or violence or intimidation. And you have to establish that the crimes they committed in 2015 were done for that purpose. I haven't heard her do that. I have not. Where's the connection this witness is supposed to be? Because people are like, oh, he said they were a gang. That's not enough. One, it's not a crime to be a gang, right? It's not a crime to be in a gang. You have the First Amendment right to assemble. You can assemble with gang members if you so choose, right? If you get arrested because they're engaging in criminal behavior, you might then have to fight charges. But just being in a gang is not enough. She has to establish that these acts were done in furtherance of this YSL gang reputation for control and dominance of this particular area, whatever may have you. I haven't seen anything like that. And she's got to be nearing the end of his testimony because he's been on now for 2 days.
Right.
Right. So does that make sense, guys? Is that because I'm sitting here going, what's the point? And I think that what happens is lawyers, right? It becomes about your ego. It becomes more about the ego and less about the case. And now you want to best your witness. because he's besting you. So you got to best him. You have to best him. And it's not about you proving the elements of your case, but you coming across as if you've bested the witness and he didn't best you. That's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous because you're not establishing any of the elements of the crimes that have been charged. I haven't seen it. And I haven't seen this witness make any connection. And I suspect that what the defense is going to do when they get up, is they're going to say, listen, you were a part of the rock crew. It wasn't a gang. It was because y'all all lived in that area, right? In fact, if they did their homework, they could pull up all the crews for that entire neighborhood. I bet you there was a rock crew and a block crew and a red crew and a them crew. You know what I mean? Because that's the nature of that type, what was happening in that time period, in that time frame. So establish that. Then they're going to establish the crimes that you did commit and you pled guilty for. They weren't in furtherance of any gang, right? You did that because you was hungry that day, right? You did that because it was an opportunity that presented itself that day, right? You did it because you happened to have a gun that day and there was a chick who was flashing some money that day, right? That's how they're going to establish that what he's doing, what he did, was not in furtherance of any gang. And she hasn't done anything to show that it has been or that it was. All right, let's get back into it. We getting there. Yeah, 2 days of this type of question, Robin. I agree.
Lil Wayne, at the time that you all went to the compound as a group on your birthday?
I don't know. There are likes and dislikes. I know mine.
And were you a fan?
Yes.
And so, was it you then who convinced YSL to go to the compound where Lil Wayne was performing?
So, my initial thing of the whole night was celebrating my birthday, and it wasn't even a thing for everyone to say, hey, let's go here or something. That's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. So, being in communication of, like, there was never, no one said, let's go here. That's what I want to do for my birthday, and that's what I did.
And did anyone, any YSL members have anything to say about your decision to go see Lil Wayne at the compound?
I didn't converse that with anyone. It was what I wanted to do, so I did what I wanted to do.
So how did you all manage to go as a group if you didn't talk about it?
Maybe that was on some of their minds already to go to that club. I don't know.
We don't know. Come on, y'all. Where the defense at? Come on, y'all.
Come on, y'all.
I need them.
I'm gonna back up a little bit to something you said a moment ago that referenced what you testified about yesterday. Yesterday, do you recall telling the jury how you all came up with the name Young Sly Mike?
Yes.
And today, what is your memory of how you all came up with Young Sly?
No objection, ask me to answer.
I'm overruled the objection, sir.
Was she impeaching her own
Today, what
witness?
is your memory?
Today was my memory.
Your Honor, I object to whispered
Yeah, I hear that as well, so stop it. If you're talking loud, I can hear you as well. Please don't do that.
What happened there, Dennis?
So today, what is
in the
your
back of the courtroom
memory
whispering.
of how you all came up with the name Young Sly Mike?
Now the judge is honing in on the
A
first
passion for music.
part. She's literally standing in front of the camera, which is literally
Right.
right there over her shoulder to the left.
Coming up with a name for the music group.
And why did you all, as three founding members, choose the word Sly
because I often listen to Wayne music. We often listen to Wayne music.
Tell the jury, and this was this pre-2014 that you all formed YSL?
Objection asked and answered.
Yesterday I answered that question with I don't recall the initial
Asked and answered.
date.
That's right. Let him
If
know.
I'm not mistaken.
I'm asking you today,
And I got the
do
same.
you remember
Right. And I got the same
the
answer.
year?
Got the
I don't
same
recall.
answer.
Do you remember telling the jury approximately when it was formed?
If I'm not mistaken, I said that I don't recall.
How many times you gonna
Do
let
you
him-
remember me showing you State's Exhibit 10 Uniform Bravo? And I can put it up on the screen. Can we get sharing capability, Mr. Attorney? And that is 10 Uniform Bravo. Which is Do you remember seeing that exhibit yesterday and talking about it with the jury?
Yes.
And
Excuse me.
do you remember referencing the date of October 12th, 2014 while you were talking about it?
Yes.
Do you remember telling the jury that YSL was founded at least before that date?
I think I said I don't recall the initial date of it being started.
Okay. While I'm not
Now,
asking
this
you
is why
the
this
exact
is
date,
objectionable.
are you able to?
You're impeaching your own witness. She's impeaching her own witness right now. And if you're going to impeach him, then you need to bring up the testimony from yesterday where you're saying he said this.
Let's do a
That's-
readback, Your
that's
Honor. We want to do a readback.
Proper way that you that's the proper way you do if you're going to impeach. Otherwise, this is not proper questioning.
Right. At that point, she should have asked the court
But
to have a
they're not
readback of the testimony.
They're not objecting. So she's doing whatever she wants to do. And when they do object, they don't have the right basis for the objection to call the attention to the fuck shit. So the judge is like, hey, you relevant, so now I'm gonna let that go. Like, it's like when they say something different, he's like, oh yeah. That's I'm gonna sustain on that one right there. That's what it seemed like to me,
Ike, I want you to hold that thought. I have to handle some business real quick here. We're going to play this video. This is a very short video.
Okay.
This stream is being sponsored by Southside Yoko. I want people just to check this out real quickly.
Where I'm from, but they'll put a halo on anybody, Lord. Not too many I can say that got me, Lord. Even when I go astray, I'm still your son. Even on the cloudy
See, I came from the bottom where niggas don't make it out it. Why I seen niggas fall like cold leaves in the autumn. When you gotta go to prison before you see a shahada. Seen Route 64 with bows in the Armada. Always been one step away my whole life. Been some long nights, just roll the dice. I'm betting on myself just to reach these heights. It's generational wealth. Success from hands that was dealt. And freedom from mental health. Just another notch on the belt, cause I came from it. I'm talking dirty trap with 100 packs, I was made from it. I'm talking streets that kill you dead, go get a trade or something. Seen a lot of lives lost to this game for nothing. Mama said I'm from the gang, but you ain't claiming nothing. Go to school, go read a book, go play the game or something. But shit, your focus start to change when your stomach touching. I guess it is what it is. We can't go back to them days we was kids, so let me live it.
You seen too much when you see your mama cry. Every tear that fell caught a homicide. And it ain't too many angels in the place that I'm from. They'll put a halo on anybody, Lord. Not too many I can say that got me, Lord. when I go astray, I'm still your son.
Yeah, drowning in this liquor, this one's gone. Blinded by distraction, knowing action is what's gone. Knowing temptation will only lead you to desperation. Knowing that your pride will tell you lies when you can't face it. I'm changing my ways now, cause I can't let my past harm me. My dream board, a Ouija board, I swear this shit talking to me. This year, divine focus, they still seeing 2020. They want me by a rope, but they ain't know that this shit was bungee. 2K a day, that's what I make. I scrape the pot, I bust the safe, I bust the watch, I flood the face, I fuck a good, you call a bae. I beat the stove, I beat the block, I beat the odds, I beat the charges with the bros. I switch my clothes and switch the spots. Niggas playing both sides when it's time to slide. Gotta play your role when it's time to go. Life changed from a homicide when them niggas come. Shit you never know. Lord have mercy on my soul. When I meet my demons, praise with a rifle and a scope.
You see too much when you see your mama cry. Every tear that fell caught a homicide, and it ain't too
today to tell the jury where the YSL began before October the 12th.
We back, Ike. We back.
I'm sorry. I was distracted.
Let me get you back up here. Let me get you over there to the left here. I need you on the other side.
I'm reading the viral tweets of the guy who wouldn't buy the girl diapers, but he wanted to buy liquor and pull up. All right, go ahead.
There you go. G12. You don't know. You like them old, G12. You like them old, G12.
What happened? Oh, G12.
But word time. I hear you, Mark. I hear you, Mark. I hear you. But that's Southside Yoko. Let's go and finish watching this testimony. Here we go.
2014.
No, I can't answer that. I don't.
While looking at an IG post,
So you asked me.
him and I, the founders of YSL, So Brilliant, photo by Thugger
Yo, Mark,
One,
you wild, Mark. You wild, Mark.
posted on October 12, 2014.
But I stated that I didn't recall.
Okay. So even looking at that, you don't remember whether YSL was formed.
Hold on. What's the basis?
Objection. Argument.
Does looking at this refresh your memory? Whether it was formed before that date or not?
Finally.
No.
Are you able in any way to explain why you would be calling yourself Original Science Line _ Slug and be called a founder of YSL?
Objection form compound.
October the 12th, 2014.
No, I can't explain it.
And are you now stating to the jury that you can't give them any time frame when YSL was formed?
Objection moving. Same objection.
Can you give the jury any time frame whatsoever?
No.
Would you explain how you're able to remember the inspiration for a name and not remember any time frame about when the inspiration came about?
No, I can't explain it.
Are you willing to offer one?
Objection.
No.
Oh my God.
Do you recall, as part of your agreement with the state, and I believe,
Here we go.
since they're here, I'm going to pull it out.
I don't know, Mark. It's you see me pulling my hair out, right? It's the most frustrating thing as a defense attorney to sit here and not hear them objecting or someone.
You get a copy of that?
I get some strategy, but this is not strategy. I really don't think they.
We might need to come pro hot seat. Ike,
I'm down. Listen, Georgia has reciprocity with New York. Say less. Except you gotta get me before school start, because I'm a professor.
But ladies and gentlemen, do you think Ike should join the defense team of Young Doug? Pro hot Vici?
That would be dope. Yeah, tell him to call me. Tell him to holler at your girl.
Hey,
For real.
I'm gonna send a
Somebody
I'm gonna send a
do
kite in
something.
the court. I'm gonna send a kite in the courtroom.
Send a kite up. Send a kite up. Yeah. Cause
Let's go.
tell Adams to call me. I think he just put a battery in his back. Right?
16 uniform, thank you, Judge. Do you recall me showing you 16 uniform yesterday?
Yes.
And do you recall as part of 16 uniform in section number 3, would you please tell the jury what section number 3 is called?
Special conditions of sentence.
And
What's the question here?
would you please read verbatim what section B,
What's the
Bravo,
question here? Stop for a
number-
second. So here's the problem I'm having with this exchange. There's no question. What is the point of him reading this stuff? She asked, do you remember asking me about this? He said yes. And now she's asking him to read something. But there's no question outstanding. There's no reason for him to be reading anything. He's not refreshing recollection. It's not past recollection recorded. It's not a prior inconsistent statement. We don't know why he's reading this document. It doesn't matter that it's in evidence already. That doesn't matter. What is the purpose of this examination? And I don't know why the defense is not up saying, Judge, there's no question here. We object to him reading. There's no question. So maybe there's a question after he reads it, but certainly this is not how it's done or how it should be done. This is not proper protocol.
3 says,
Defendant shall testify truthfully about all matters relating to this case upon which he is questioned at any trial or judicial proceeding stemming from the facts alleged in this indictment.
He reads very well.
and you understand that that is what you have obligated yourself to do. Do you
I sustain the objections to form.
understand that that is what you've obligated yourself to do?
Yes.
Today, as you remember it today, did anyone make you sign this?
No.
And yesterday you said something about being pressured. Who was it?
He never said the word pressure.
Objection.
He never said pressure.
He
He's
didn't
gonna
say
clear that up.
pressured. Objection. I was texting you when I was so mad when I was like, somebody better object. Daggone it.
Right.
Somebody
He
did.
never said that.
That, if anyone at all, did someone pressure you?
Basis. Overruled, sir. Overruled, sir.
My words, if I'm not mistaken, they wasn't pressured. I think it was like persuaded.
Do you recall who it is that you're talking about when you say persuaded?
Yes.
And when you say persuaded, what is it that you're using that word in reference to?
Telling me what that person who's doing it, that person who is doing the persuasion, persuading me that this is in my best interest.
And so, did you agree with the person that told you it was in your best interest?
It wasn't a did I agree or disagree matter, because I hired that person.
Which which is why this is not permissible.
To tell me what's in my best interest. So
There ain't nobody objecting.
I don't feel like it was a agree or disagree matter.
Did the court tell you anything about
I agree,
his
Rob. Better
choice?
questions always yield better answers.
Okay, so you just made a good point just now, Ike. Now, he had client-attorney privileges. He's communicating with his attorney. Why is she asking him?
Correct.
She knows that she wasn't the one that persuaded him. So she's setting him up.
She knows exactly who the person is who persuaded him. The person that you had the conversation with, did you agree with the person? This is bullshit, and it shouldn't be allowed. But they're not objecting. I would object, Judge. This is privileged communication. She shouldn't be inquiring into his privileged communication. All she could say was, did you understand? Did you understand? That's fine. Did you have enough time? That's fine. Did you need more time? That's it. Just whether or not it's voluntary, knowing, and willful. But all of that, how you came to your decision, your mental processes, that is not permissible, man. Damn.
Let's go.
It was to enter into any kind of agreement like this.
Yes.
What was it that the court told you, as you remember today?
Object for leaving. I would just object because they leaving. And he could.
That is my choice. Yeah.
Did you understand what the court said?
Yes.
And what did you understand it being your choice to mean?
That it should come from me.
Did the court say anything to you about whether or not it could be your attorney's choice?
No.
Objection. Call for hearsay.
Did the court make clear that it had to be your choice and not your attorney's choice?
Yes.
Did you understand that?
Yes.
So, did you agree with what your attorney said
He was like, got
about
more time. I told you.
entering into this agreement being in your best interest?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to correct things that you saw were incorrect as a part of this agreement?
Yes.
And did you make corrections when asked to agree or disagree with parts of this document?
Not these initial questions. So I was given 2 sets of questions. I received those questions on the 27th.
Now she mad.
Were changes made to the initial sets of questions that you were given?
The first set of questions?
Yes, were changes made from the time you were given the initial set to the time you were given the final set?
Yes, it was a complete change.
And were those changes reflective of conversations you had had with your attorney who then conversed with the
Privilege.
state?
Privilege conversations.
Hold on. What's my changes? One more time, I'm sorry.
Did the final document reflect changes that you discussed with your attorney, who then conveyed that information to the state?
Compound.
Yes, but
Compound.
without my permission, I didn't tell her to do that.
Wow.
So the yes part, is the yes part to my question about whether it
why-
reflected the changes that you talked
Compound
about?
question.
Yes.
That's why the question was problematic, because he answered half of it.
Okay, so is he saying that the lawyer made changes to the agreement that he didn't know about?
Yep. No, it sounds like he's saying the lawyer made changes, but he didn't know that the lawyer sent those changes to the state. Right? Because it's a two-part question. One is about the changes, and two is about those changes being sent to the state by the lawyer. That's what's wrong with the question. That's why compound questions are not allowed.
Right. Too confusing.
You have to, your question should establish one fact at a time.
Crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you're hitting the like button. If you want a question to stand out, you know what you got to do. Hit that super chat. We'll read your question. Let's go, Ike.
The final document is reflective of changes that you discussed with your attorney. Is that an accurate statement?
Can you break down the question more for me?
Sure. When you first saw the set of questions given to you, and by questions, are you talking about any particular part of this document or the whole document? Here, I'll let you look at it. When you say the initial set of questions, which questions on that document are you talking about?
Is this the initial set of questions?
This is 16 uniform. And you said, as I recall, that 16 uniform isn't the set of questions that you initially saw.
Yes.
Okay. So on 16 uniform, would you please point out the area that has changes from what you initially saw?
So I said all the questions were different.
All of them?
Yes, from my understanding.
So the current charges, was that section different?
No.
So
that's what you're asking. I understand what you're asking now.
okay. So we'll go over it. Was the negotiated sentence, was that section different?
Your Honor,
I didn't even see a point.
best evidence rule, since we're comparing two documents, I don't have that other document.
Your Honor, he is referenced.
I think he's just referencing conversations. So I'm going to overrule your objection, Mr. Steele, unless there is another document that was.
No, Your Honor.
Okay,
This is something that.
then I'll overrule the objection, sir.
This, and to be clear, so that the record is clear, the witness has testified about something that I'm now asking him.
Objection to speaking.
Right,
I'll
so
sustain the objection. Just go ahead and ask the question.
Improper
ma'am.
impeachment.
Speaking.
Improper impeachment.
Right. Right.
You could say that improper impeachment. This is improper impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
Best evidence rule. What the fuck is
So-
that?
Was section 3 the special?
So just so you know, best evidence rule, it means that you have to have the original document. But that is if you are entering it into evidence. That document's already in evidence. So why the hell does he think that that is the objection to make best evidence rule? That is the best evidence they got. That's why that's objected, because that's not the right objection.
I mean, that's why it's overruled.
Yeah, that's why it's over. What I said. What did I say?
Objected.
Objected. Oh, that's why it's overruled. Sorry, yeah, that's why it's overruled.
She's ladies and gentlemen. The attorney tries me sometimes. She thinks I ain't listen. I'm not listening.
I don't know. I'm like, what I say? But I was talking too fast with the old words. Overruled, objected.
I got you, counselor.
Conditions, were those different?
So
Just, if you don't mind indulging me, were those different?
I didn't even see this. Me and my attorney went over the initial set of questions via the call box in the jail. I didn't even see any of these papers. She was just reading and talking to me. I didn't see any papers.
Okay. Did she go over the factual acknowledgments with you?
No, it was just the questions.
What questions are you talking about?
They're not here.
So, is it your testimony that none of the factual acknowledgments, none of section 4, have you seen any of section 4 before you signed the paperwork? And not on this physical document, but any of it before you got into court and signed it?
Are you saying from these set of questions or the initial set of questions? I thought we were talking about the initial set of questions. Because
I'm asking you.
Basis. I'm overruled the objection, madam.
I'm asking you whether it's your testimony that you have never seen on any medium or ever heard any of the questions or any of the statements under Section 4. Not necessarily on this piece of paper.
It's compound. Compound question. Why don't you just break
Have
it
you
down
ever?
a little shorter.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ike spoke about this compound question practice that this prosecutor is doing, and it confuses people. You know, you hear, first of all, this guy already told you that he hadn't had any sleep, and you're hitting it with compound questions. Just ask the first question and follow up with the next question. But Ike, she's trying to razzle dazzle. Can you hear me, Ike? You're on mute. Ike, you're on mute.
Okay, I'm back.
Right. So what I was
Back and coming is slow. There's a delay.
okay. All right. I think you caught
Go ahead.
up.
I'm sorry.
So she's doing this
Had to get a
again.
cereal box.
Right. She's doing this again. She's asking compound questions.
Mhm.
And the judge, the lawyer's objecting. And she does. She's
Well,
been
what
doing
is
this.
their basis of objection? What is their basis?
Oh, it was a compound question. Like you said, it wasn't allowed. But I'll play it back. I don't know if you missed that. What are you eating? Ike?
Did he? What was? I'm eating salted caramel.
Oh, my favorite. My favorite. I know what you-
Nature Valley cereal bar.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
are you saying from these set of questions or the initial set of questions? I thought we were talking about the initial set of questions. Because
I'm asking you.
Basis.
Oh,
I'm overruled the objection.
She
That
won't
objection.
let him finish.
I hit the wrong button. That was by West. I'm gonna take it back. That was by
No, I'm
Attorney
just
Westmoreland.
saying.
You saw I just
What
did?
was her basis for the objection? Was she won't let him finish?
Right, because he was answering the question.
Yeah,
Let
but
him answer.
it's a compound question. Don't object to his answer. Object to her question.
Yeah, but she's got to
It's a
stop
compound
interrupting him.
question.
Counselor, she's interrupting him.
It's
She
a
said stop doing
compound
that.
question. He won't
I agree
even
with
get to answer for her to interrupt if you object timely to the question.
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
I didn't see any papers.
Did she go over the factual acknowledgments with you?
No, it was just the questions.
What questions are you talking about?
They're not here.
So, is it your testimony that none of the factual acknowledgments, none of Section 4, have you seen any of Section 4 before you signed the paperwork? And not on this physical document, but any of it before you got into court and signed it?
That is 3 questions.
Are you saying from these set of questions or the initial set of questions? I thought we were talking about the initial set of questions. Because
I'm asking you.
Basis. I'm overruled the objection, madam.
I'm asking you whether it's your testimony that you have never seen on any medium or ever heard any of the questions or any of the statements under Section 4. Not necessarily on this piece of paper.
It's compound.
Compound. Thank you,
Compound
Judge.
question. Why don't you just break
Have
it
you
down
ever?
a little shorter.
Yes, Your Honor. Before you sign this document, had you ever seen or heard any of the questions in defendant's factual acknowledgments?
Still compound.
what is that?
Here, I'll let you look.
Defendant factual knowledge. All right. So, up under defendant's factual acknowledgements.
I don't need you to read it, but
I'm answering the question. I'm not reading, I'm answering the question.
Okay, just tell me a number.
8 years of his probation is time served. He did 2 years.
Tell me the number of the questions that you had never seen before you signed that document. Never seen or heard.
Objection. How can I tell you something I've never seen? How can I show you something I've never seen? You can't ask for someone to show you a negative. Form. She just said, show me the question you never seen. The form of that is just problematic.
Right. You can't. If you've never seen it, how can I show it to you?
Right. And like, what the fuck? Does she even hear herself? Show me the question you never seen.
And he's thinking about
trying to
like
figure it out. He like,
what
let
are
me
you
show
talking
you
about?
the question. What you mean? Let me see.
Right.
Oh, maybe about 3 or 4.
And no one is objecting to that question. Show me the question that you never seen.
I'm confused. I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Can you just read to yourself did you read the document when you signed it?
Yes. So I hope that this can answer your question. I seen this paper, the 28th and the 29th. I hope that can answer your question. I seen this paper, this whole entirety of this paper. My first time seeing this whole entirety of this paper was the 28th and the 29th.
That paper, does it have a DA seal at the top?
Yeah, what's a seal? Like a heading or something? Yes.
And that document, is it dated?
Yes.
What's the date?
December 20th, 2022.
And the question that I'm asking you specifically is not about the physical piece of paper in front of you. It's about, and you have to tell me, do you understand the question I'm asking? It's about the questions and statements under defendant's factual acknowledgments. Just the statements themselves. Do you understand what I'm asking you?
You finished with the question?
I'm asking you, are you able to tell the jury which of those statements, if any, you saw for the very first time, or you heard for the very first time, the day you signed that physical paper?
Compound.
I seen.
Hold on, sir. Yes, Mr. Steele, what's your objection? What's your objection?
To the form of the question, there's no boundary
I
line.
sustain the question.
Thank
You can
Joe.
rephrase, madam.
Compound.
Was the day that you signed this paper the first time anyone ever talked with you about question or acknowledgement number 1?
So there, I signed the paper. No.
Was the day that you signed that paper the first time anyone had ever talked with you about acknowledgement number 2?
No.
Was the day that you signed that paper the first time, and let me be clear, read acknowledgement number 1 again.
See, you can't do
Defendant
that.
Young Slime Light,
Start
aka
asking
YSL,
questions.
is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who share common identifiers that include but are not limited to colors, hand sealing, terminology, who have committed crimes and intend to increase the notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL.
Okay. And what is number 2 again?
There's no
Defendant is one of.
There's no
You're not
question.
allowed
She's
to just do that. No question.
Right.
She's like, just read. That's crazy.
Let
You
me ask you a
object.
question. Is that going back to the delivery room, that plea deal?
What you mean?
When they go into deliberation, will that be a piece of the evidence to go back into the?
Oh, you said delivery room.
Excuse me, deliberation. You
I
got
was
me
like,
too,
what the
Counselor.
fuck you mean? I'm like, is that some kind of euphemism? I'm like,
The deliberation.
I'm not up on it. They some new slang.
Listen.
Yes, that is a piece of evidence that is in evidence.
Mm-hmm.
They can have it. They will have a copy of it.
So why is it so important for him to read that? For him to
It's not.
show. Okay.
It's not. This is my point. It's not. It's not. And it's improper the way she's doing it. Again, it's improper this way.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
The founding members of the Young Salon.
And number 3 is the day you signed that paper, the first time anyone ever talked with you about acknowledgement number 3.
No.
Listen to her cut herself off.
What about acknowledgement number 5? Would you read acknowledgement number 5?
When asked by law enforcement about defendants YSL and Rock Crew Tattoo, defendants truthfully advised law enforcement that defendant is a member of a gang called Rock Crew, but that group is no longer going by their name and now goes by YSL, which originally stood for Young Slime Life.
So what he just in that plea agreement, he acknowledges that
Attorney Gerald Griggs says that it doesn't go in the back. It's not in evidence, Gerald. If it's in evidence, it goes in the back.
Okay, so he's an Atlanta attorney.
The deal will not go in the back. Atlanta attorney.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember him.
He's a Gerald. Hey Gerald, I'm sending you the link. I don't know where you're at, but I'm sending you the link. And Gerald was almost on this case too. I think I recall. No, Gerald was almost on. He was on this case. Yes, I think he had a defendant in the case. Hold on a second.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Come on.
Gerald, come on up in here.
Bring him up.
Hold on a second here. Let me get. Wait a minute. We got a
Get up on in here. Get on in here, Gerald Griggs, justice fighter. It's in evidence, right? If it's in evidence, how come it doesn't? How come? No, but it doesn't go back. So why is it in evidence then? Is it a court exhibit? And how do you just differentiate between what evidence goes in the back and what evidence doesn't? Because in New York, if it's in evidence, it's going.
Gerald, I just dropped the link, but that's a good question.
Really yeah, Gerald, you could answer a couple more procedural questions for us because I'm so curious as to how this is permissible. This examination where there's no question, right here where she's not asking him any question, she just has him reading this document that is in evidence, kind of. That now you're telling me is in evidence, but it's not. Like that don't feel right. Because what if the jurors want to examine it? And it's in evidence, but it's not in evidence. It's quasi in evidence. What? How they do that? How they do that?
I'm about to send Gerald this. Gerald, I posted. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. He was texting me. I didn't even know, Gerald. Hold on, Gerald. I didn't even know. Hold on. I'm sending this to you now.
Yeah, I'll be on the phone on this thing and forget to check my phone sometimes.
Right. So I didn't know that because I thought that could go back with the jurors. I mean,
I think so too. If it's in evidence.
It's in evidence. If it's not in evidence, why is she reading it?
Right. If it's not in evidence, it is in evidence. He said it is in evidence. I'm really confused. Gerald, come help us understand this. He said he about to join.
Yeah, so
Paradox True said, but if it's in evidence, then they can actually see it. That's what I would think, Paradox. But
absolutely,
Gerald is saying that's not the case.
Right. Well,
and if it's not the case,
and ladies and gentlemen,
you shouldn't be allowed to read it then.
I want to point out. I want to point out before Gerald gets up here, he was on the first RICO case that occurred in Georgia on the APS Atlanta school teachers case, and he
Oh,
represented.
wow.
Yeah, so that's where I met Gerald. Here comes, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, the justice fighter, Attorney Gerald Griggs.
Hey guys, what's going on?
What's going on?
Man, I was just watching. I'm doing good. I was watching y'all on the live stream, watching the testimony of a young man on the stand. And sometimes, and you have some of the best criminal defense attorneys in Georgia on this case, sometimes when the prosecution is dealing with impeaching their own witness, you just let the flaming dumpster fire keep going until they really make a mistake. So that's probably why Keith and a couple of the others haven't been objecting as vociferously as we would want them to do. And then the question that you're asking about the plea agreement, in Georgia law, a document can be in evidence, but it might not go back with the jury because you don't want to focus the jury's attention on one piece of evidence that's written as opposed to their collective memories. So it's called the continuing witness rule, which means a documentary evidence such as, witness statements that are written, such as, maybe something that's in the handwriting of that person in a police report or something like that, does not go back, even though it may very well be in evidence. So
what happens when the jury wants to see it?
Then they come back out and you read it to them, and you also read the limiting instruction that you have to remember all of the evidence and not focus so much on this one piece as opposed to any others, and then the judge will read it to them. So that's why his proffer agreement, which is what they're referring to, will not go back with the jury.
Okay, because I can have it could be a plus or it could be a good or bad thing if they honing on this proffer agreement, and then just looking at some of the verbiage in that agreement, it does establish that Rock Crew was a rock gang based on him signing off on that. Mm-hmm. And the judge reads all this to the prosecution reads all this to the defendant prior to him accepting the plea in open court.
Yeah, they read all of this. And so that's why probably the defense attorneys are just, sitting back, letting him, make contradictions in his testimony. So, if you make one or two contradictions, why would we believe anything you're saying? Because you can't keep your story straight. So that's why they're letting him continue to talk like this. Now, when you get to something that could potentially be prejudicial or is just wholly outside of the rules of evidence, if he just starts testifying strictly to what somebody else told him, that's hearsay or triple hearsay, then you'll see him jump up and down. But right now, you can see it on his face. He's wearing down. And this is the state, impeaching their own witness. And anytime you got the state impeaching their own witness, you're winning. So.
Right. And that's why Attorney Westmoreland said.
Do you think the jury knows that, though? Do you think the jury knows that she's impeaching her own witness? Because I would like for the defense to make it perfectly clear. Like, objection, judge. She's impeaching her own witness. And then sit down and let them do it. Because I don't think it's clear.
That's typically what you would do. But then sometimes you got a judge that says we're not doing speaking objections.
Like this one.
Get up, object, make your point, and sit down.
You have to give a basis. Even when a non-speaking objection, the basis is she's impeaching her own witness.
I know, but you got to understand what this judge has done in several instances in this case to lawyers. So
he's asking for the basis, though, Gerald. He asked, "What would you say in response to that?" You say objection. He says basis.
Didn't he make some?
He
makes somebody go buy Magic City wings instead of being
But I get difficult judges all the time. It's New York. I get it. But my question to you is, if you were to, how would you handle that? He says, you say objection. He goes basis.
And you would say improper question. You would say improper impeachment. You try to get in there quick. Yeah, you try to get in there quick.
That's good enough.
But I'm just saying why they're probably not doing this in this case, because again, this judge has held, I think, 3 jurors in contempt. He's held 2 lawyers in contempt. I think he took a juror into custody once. So you know.
Yeah, for a couple of hours.
Yeah,
He's berating the lawyers in the courtroom. He's Johnson.
Listen, that's something. You know what? I have left the courthouse many times holding my ankles. It's part of the fucking job. It's part of the job. Like, don't bring your ego in here. But protect that record. And if that means that
you gotta protect
that means that you want to sanction me, okay? Guess what? In New York, we gotta have a whole hearing if you want to sanction me. A whole lot of people gonna ask some questions about how that's happening and why that's happening. You don't just get to do that.
I mean, yeah, you do have show cause hearings, but again, if he holds you in contempt, he can take you into custody pending the outcome of the hearing. Now, you do ask for a supersedious bond and take this back up to Court of Appeals, but you know, in Georgia, the judges have a whole lot of power. And you know,
I cannot see this judge holding a lawyer in contempt because they object and he said basis and you said she's impeaching her witness.
Well,
I'm sorry. It would be remiss for an attorney not to do their job. And so if you're going to let a judge bully you into not making the record that you need to make, then you shouldn't be in court. I'm sorry.
As somebody who sat in this courtroom for 9 months with a judge who was a little bit worse than this, you know, you got to pick your battles. This is a battle.
Absolutely.
This is a battle to get an objection on a guy who you, in your estimation, as you're defending your client, is singing like a canary, but the canary's notes are off. I don't know if you risk going to jail for that. You know,
I got you.
Just kind of let him stay up there and sing, and then when you get up for cross-examination, first question, you're tired, aren't you?
Right.
You've been up there a long time.
You've been a long
answering
time.
questions from the person that cut you a deal, right? Yes.
Right.
You kind of go into that. So yeah.
True. Okay. All right.
So Joe, to your
sense.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we're not going to pick any particular judge, but in a situation like this, why would a judge be so anal about someone saying on the record she's impeaching her own witness? I hear it all the time in courtrooms.
Sometimes judges want to move the case along, and so they get a little irritable up there, and they say, move it along. We don't want to hear any more objections. Move it along. And so, you know, sometimes they take it out on either the prosecution or the defense, and you try to, if it's not something that's beneficial for your client in that moment, you pick what battles you want to fight. Right. I think that the jury is seeing that something's going on. They might not know that it's improper impeachment, but they know something's going on. This guy been on the stand for a minute, and now his memory is becoming fuzzy. So I mean, what else is his memory fuzzy about? You nailed those points, but you don't, you know, unless you gotta pick a fight with the judge, you don't really pick a fight.
Not with that one.
No.
So I think that the judge doesn't want speaking objections because they have the potential to poison the jury. True. Has always been my experience as to why judges don't like speaking objections. 1, 2, they also like the appearance that they have more control over the courtroom than they might, right? Yes. And so if they could limit what you're saying out of your mouth, then it looks like they have more control. But again, like I said earlier, Gerald, I don't know if you do this, but in instances where you might not be able to make a record, when that jury is out that room, do you return to the judge? I just want to make a record with respect to that last objection that you overruled, but do you do that?
Oh, absolutely. And in that previously the state's longest trial, that's exactly what we would do. So we understood what the judge, and you were so correctly stating, the judge wants to give the appearance they're in absolute control of what's happening in that courtroom. But, you know, after the jury steps out, you absolutely make that record because you're not only talking to that judge, but you're talking to the appellate judges as well. Because the worst thing that can happen is, you know, a judge shuts you down and you miss, you know, something that's clearly a violation of the law and you don't preserve it for appeal. And then you're on ineffective assistance of counsel claim trying to explain where, you know, the judge was threatening us. Well, from the record, it didn't seem like the judge was threatening you. Yeah, but the record doesn't show you emotion, and all the other things that are going on in the courtroom, simply by the words that are coming out.
So what I would say is, Judge,
Absolutely.
look at the footage. Look at the cameras. I have the footage. I took the pictures. He's doing it.
They never look at, but appellate
They
courts
never look
don't
at that.
look at.
Only thing
Appellate
that matters
appellate
is what's
courts
in
don't
that
look at
actual record.
footage, right?
They look at video footage or photos,
Right.
and that's why it's so important for people like you, journalists, to journal this, because the public needs to understand that all trials should be covered like this, so you can actually see what's actually happening. You can gauge, the witnesses and what's happening to the defendants and what's happening, with the prosecution. So you don't have, lawyers on television always saying, oh, they're great lawyers, but there's no evidence of them being great lawyers.
Of that.
But
That's right.
having live stream something like this, you can see, the supreme talent of many of the men and women that are behind the bar doing this work, and then the stuff they have to put up with some of the judges. They're great judges in Georgia, but sometimes the judge puts their thumb on the scale. And so we we need for citizens to understand what actually happens in a real court appearance.
Right. And maybe that would happen, and maybe that would happen less if we had more eyes watching. Right.
Exactly.
Judges would be less inclined to act as second prosecutors, right, or to put their thumbs on the scale because people are watching.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what that eye in the courtroom does. Because even with this case, and Dennis, there's a reason why I don't really come down to watch this case anymore. In the beginning, they had all kinds of armed, sheriffs,
oh my God,
with AR-15s and big guns. And I'm like, how is this? How is this?
You made a good point.
The defendant's right to a fair trial if it looked like World War III in there. And I'm like, these guys are merely accused of these offenses.
Right.
So how is it that you're limiting the amount of people that could come into a courtroom, and you having metal detectors at the courtroom door? Now, there's already metal detectors to get in the courtroom door, but there was metal detectors at the courtroom door. So did you go in to the courthouse and then go into a bathroom and sneak a weapon in between the time you went to the bathroom to the time you went to the courtroom?
Watching too much power.
Some of the things that are happening behind the scenes in this case are interesting.
Gerald, to your point, even now that the trial is actually going on, when witnesses like this young man takes the stand, the sheriff department brings in more security, which boggles the mind. It boggles the mind. You see, I'm gonna have to put you out there, sir. You see, Sergeant Ingram is standing behind him, and they know the camera's running. He knows what the object is, and the jury is right to the left of him. But he wasn't standing behind the cop who was on the witness stand. He wasn't standing behind the man in the wheelchair. But he's standing behind this young man who's free to move around the streets. He's not a threat to anyone. And quite honestly, it doesn't even look like he want to be there.
No. And so it's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that really does not need to happen behind the scenes, because these young men are innocent until proven guilty by the jury that's to the left. And we need to act that way. Law enforcement saying, oh, but those are allegations. And until you prove those allegations in this courtroom beyond a reasonable doubt to those jurors, it's just that. And so we got to get back to the scales of justice being balanced. And right now, some of the things that I've seen outside of the courtroom are showing that the scales are tipping. And so that's why I've not come down there, because that first day of jury selection, the first day a year ago, I was there, wanted to go in. I'm an officer of the court. Let's be clear. Lawyers are officers of the court. Okay.
Yes, we are.
Just like the police officer behind it. I mean, we have just as much right as any other quote officer. When they started doing that stuff with the AR-15s and all that they were doing too much. And as somebody who's, like I said, sat through now Georgia's second longest trial, I've never seen some of the things that have been happening in this case happen ever.
That's crazy.
It does not take. I don't care how quote dangerous the defendants are supposed to be. It does not take a year to pick a jury.
Right.
Period.
That's crazy. Okay. All right.
So, I
thought it was a Georgia thing.
No, it was not. That's not a Georgia. I don't know what is going on with this case. And as Dennis said, I got several calls to be counsel for several of the defendants. Having tried Georgia's longest case, it's a career killer if you don't get it right.
Right, that's right.
You got to sit in a courtroom. Some of my friends are in this courtroom. They've been in that courtroom for a year. That means all the rest of their cases are backed up. That means they can't come to any other court appearances. They can't try anything else, and it's backing up the rest of the system. And so these are things that citizens need to understand as we are trying to get to whatever justice looks like for these young men who are accused of these crimes.
Let me just ask you really quick before we get back to this, Gerald. What do you think about the fact that they're not hiding his face? He's a cooperator. He certainly is in danger. This is such a dangerous gang. Why aren't they doing more to protect his identity? Why are they airing out his face on national TV when they protected the cops who are not even undercover cops?
Yeah, not even national TV. This is on international internet.
That part.
So I don't understand that. You would think that, for a corroborating witness, you do a little more to protect them from, what potentially could be out there. And again, the allegations against this group of young men are very serious,
Right. And they're supposed to be bad guys.
I mean, according to the prosecution, this is the worst gang in Georgia. And so, I don't know why they're not doing that. They know the cameras in the courtroom. They know the whole world watching this. If he was my client, I would have done more.
I would have requested it. Yeah.
His identity as much as you can. I mean, the people in the courtroom have a right to know who he is.
Right.
But everybody else, there are certain precautions that can be taken. They could tell them to not show him.
Right. Like they did the cops.
The jury. But that's the cost of this game.
So my last question for you is: this particular defendant pled guilty. He was sentenced to 10 years. He did 2 years, 8 suspended for while he's on probation or something to that effect. Yeah. Is that a sentence that's consistent with the most dangerous gang in Georgia? I mean, he going for a CDL. He did it short too.
Listen, as somebody who's tried high-level gang cases, I've never seen an offer like that. If this is the most dangerous gang in Georgia, everybody should be doing decades upon decades in prison.
Okay.
But sometimes when you got a story to tell, they give you sweetheart deals. And his lawyer did a great job. Clearly, he's doing what he needs to do. I mean, I have some questions about some of his testimony, like he didn't know what snitching was. That was interesting. But this is what you get when you make offers to former defendants. You never can tell what you're gonna get. And I know that some of the best lawyers in Georgia, Brian Steele, Keith Adams, Bruce Harvey, are gonna have a field day on cross.
No, that's right.
So, Gerald, we're 2.5 days we'll be into cross direct examination. How long how vigorous do you think the cross will be? How long do you think the cross will be?
Well, I mean, if it's 2.5 days of direct examination, you can expect at least 2.5 days of cross. And I mean, that first question, if it was me, is there anything you want to correct right now? Right now. Any question right now? Let's get it all out. Get it all out. If you say no, then the firing squad begins. So, it should be interesting. Again, the way this case is dragging on, I've never seen anything like this.
Oh my goodness!
Hundreds
of witnesses to go.
I mean,
have you seen any connection? And I was talking about this earlier. The point, just from an academic perspective, the point of a question is to elicit a fact, right? And the fact should establish some element of the crime charged, right? And
Yes.
do you see her making any connection with these questions that she's asking? Are they establishing any facts that support the charges? I haven't seen
Currently-
the dots match up
no.
yet.
Currently,
Okay.
no. But I have to be honest, I haven't really been following every single, day of this trial, because there are more important trials in Georgia going on right now. And I'm gonna say that for everybody watching. There are more important trials in Georgia.
Tell us what they are.
I mean, we got one in that courtroom alone, the Trump insurrection.
The Trump one, right?
That's
we
one.
watching that.
Which
You
I'm
know,
covering.
we have a few other murder cases. There's a cold case murder case in DeKalb County. We just finished with the Hannah Payne case down in Clayton County. There are more important cases out here in Georgia than this one. But what I want to get across to people is, if this was the most dangerous gang in Georgia, why is crime falling? And it has been falling, and it has nothing to do with this.
Right.
So you have to be careful. And to answer the question, is she establishing anything with these questions? If she was establishing things with these questions, the direct examination would have ended already.
I agree.
Right.
Absolutely agree.
You get in, you get what you need.
That's
you
right.
get out. Because the longer you have that witness on that stand, the more likely they're going to have missteps, the more likely they're going to give facts that will not help your case, and the more ammunition your opposing counsel will have on cross-examination.
Yeah. So I think that their cross will not be 2 days. I think cross will be maybe a day. Because you got to remember, one, I think they want to use that strategy, Gerald, to get in and get out. I think, because there's so many of them, they all have their little separate part that they want to do, right?
Yes.
She's got to, and then they know that there's going to be redirect. And that might be 3 days, right? Because who knows how long redirect is going to be? That's scary.
But my whole thought with this witness, his sole purpose was to establish, one, that there was a gang. Two, he was one of the co-organizers and leaders of the gang. And three, everybody sitting out here is a member of that gang. Right. From what I've heard, he said that there's a rock gang, rock crew that became YSL, but none of the individuals that are on trial were a member of the rock crew.
Right.
So
he also didn't say that any crime that he pled guilty to, right, was in furtherance of his association with the gang.
So, I mean, there's some issues with this witness, separate and apart from some of the missteps that I've already seen. And again, I didn't read the discovery. So if I can see the missteps, I know that some of the best defense attorneys in Georgia are over there salivating. But I don't know why you call a witness who is a corroborating co-defendant and leave him on the stand this long.
Right. I thought that was a problem as well. So the fact that he was on the stand, I have a two-part question. The first question I have is he at risk of getting his plea deal rescinded? And two, why would they risk leaving him on the stand this long, knowing that they have 6 attorneys on the defense side, and each one's going to take a crack at him and her case?
Well, the fact that she pulled out his cooperation agreement shows that he's probably in danger of running afoul of it. That's why she's showing it to him right now. And then, two, having all 6 seasoned criminal defense attorneys who know this case like the back of their hand, chomping at the bit. I don't see this ending well for him. And I hope his lawyer is in the courtroom, because typically when you have this type of testimony, your lawyer's there. You can take a break.
The lawyer's there.
Take a break. Now you can't. The lawyer can't coach you on what to say, but you can take a break. He might need to take a break.
Right.
So
and Gerald, his lawyer's in the courtroom. She's sitting right there, right behind me in the courtroom. She's literally right in front of him. She's not away by the defense team because she wants to be able to not signal him, but for example, 2 days ago, the prosecutor Love wanted to present him with a document, and she said, "Wait a minute, Your Honor, can I see that?" And I think the prosecution objected, saying, "Well, she's not a part of the defense team." Well, the judge said, "Well, she represents the witness on the stand, and she should be allowed to see what you're about to have him look at."
Yeah, and he's still under sentence. So I mean, she has rights, and you know, I think that at this point he's going a little long. If it's your witness, you don't put your witness in a situation where they're going this long, because eventually he is going to turn on her. I mean, you know, nobody's protecting him right now.
I think we're going to see a different direct examination on Monday. Honestly, I think that she's going to stop with the leading questions, and I think she's going to learn to better control this witness, because if you are going to bring in his cooperation agreement, then the way you're asking him questions about it is wholly ineffective, right? If you're going to ask him a question about it, then ask him, you looked at it, you viewed it, and you signed it, right? And when you signed it, your lawyer was with you, right? And you read it and you understood it, right? You said you was pressured, right? But nobody forced you, right? And when you pled guilty to being in a gang, right? And you pled guilty, and that's when you bring it in. You pled guilty to being a part of the da-da-da-da. That's how you do that. That way you don't give him no room to get out of that.
Yeah.
But she's giving him all the room, like, oh, you show me what you never saw. Like, what?
Right.
What kind of question?
Show me what question
show me
you
the
never
questions
saw.
you never saw before.
Huh?
And what happens when he takes the paper? He says, "This question right here, I never saw this one before. I don't know anything about this, and I didn't agree to this." And then at that point, he's a defense witness then. So,
and that's it, right?
And he's a defense
to
witness.
speak to your point about the plea getting back, I don't know, in your experience, Gerald, in your experience, how often do you see cooperators get their pleas back? I will say, as a former prosecutor, it's something that is threatened but seldom actually done.
Yeah, you're mostly correct. I think I've seen it done maybe 10% of the time, but it's in the high-profile cases where they have to make an example.
Yeah.
And
when exactly.
They did it in the APS case. They brought in two of the cooperators who ended up being great witnesses for the defense, and they revoked their agreements and resentenced them. So, you know, it could be a very precarious situation for a defendant and a defense attorney who's trying to do the best for their client. So, you know, in the big high-profile cases, and there's none, with the exception of the Trump case, bigger than this one, you know, it potentially could happen.
And we saw what Judge Glanville did in sentencing Young Thug's brother. He messed up. He got caught with a gun in the gas station in the same neighborhood.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
And
while he was out, though, he was out on.
He was out on release.
Out. Yeah, he was out pending something, right? And then he got a new case while he was out.
Well, no, he actually took the plea. His plea was done. He was out. He was out because
he was on probation.
Yes,
he was
absolutely.
on paper.
He was on paper
basically. So when he caught the new case.
But the thing I'm looking forward to in this trial, because it's a lot of chatter on the internet about this case. It's a lot. I'm ready to see all of the other people they called, you know, because there's a lot of conversation about, you know, what people did or did not say, you know, but if you enter the cooperation agreement, you know, you're likely to be called as a witness.
Right.
It gets real when you sit behind that desk up there with that microphone.
Right. But let's be clear that all of the defendants that have pled guilty, not all of them pled guilty with cooperation agreements. Gunna doesn't have a cooperation agreement. Gunna pled guilty, but he doesn't have a cooperation agreement. So he could come and test. He could be called by subpoena to testify and take the fifth. The only way they get around that is they give him immunity. He doesn't have a cooperation agreement.
I hear you.
Not every defendant that pled guilty in this case has a cooperation agreement.
My only concern is, I know Fonnie Willis very well. And I don't think that Fonnie Willis would make agreements in a case this large without having
some
assurance.
assurance, right? Absolutely.
So
yeah, his insurance is that he took a plea. The insurance is that he can't come testify and say YSL is not a gang. He can't come, right. He can't come and testify for the defense.
I was not a participant in any.
Right. He can't come do that. Exactly.
But yet there are conversations on the far reaches of the net about what did or did not happen. So again, you know, and I think that's the reality that we are starting to shift into. Reality is starting to catch up with the internet.
Well,
because a lot of people.
I'm only speaking on some things because these are things that I've gotten from Law and Crime, right? So I'm a legal analyst on Law and Crime. Some of the documents that they have to provide to us so that we can articulate and speak intelligently about these cases include some of those things, right? So they gave us the rundown on all the defendants who pled guilty and which of those defendants pled guilty with a cooperation agreement and is required to testify if they should be called. That's why I'm not speaking based on rumors. I will never do that. I can't stand that because that is how misinformation and disinformation goes, it's disseminated. So I'm speaking from some tertiary knowledge here about that. So we'll see what happens if he is called. I do believe he will invoke the fifth because he doesn't have a cooperation agreement based on the documents I've reviewed.
I promise this is the last question, Gerald.
Okay.
Is this the star witness? Is this a star witness for the prosecution? Because the way they put him on the stand after the last cop, I thought this guy was a star witness. He's a co-founder of YSL. If this is the best they got, what do you think?
I don't think this is a star witness because, again, you typically either start or end with the star witness, not in the middle. And clearly we are in the middle, which is, again, why I say I'm looking forward to seeing who all testifies, because some of the things that have been stated both in court and out of court about things that happened surrounding this incident have some of the biggest names we know. And so in order for those facts to be established, somebody has to come and sit in that chair and testify to those facts. And so, again, I'm a criminal defense attorney in Atlanta. I've dealt with some of the outlying cases in this realm, because according to, what's been previously testified to and what's been said publicly, there are other gangs associated and other people associated with whatever happened in this case. And again, right now it hasn't been proven. They're merely allegations. But if they're going to prove those things, certain individuals are going to have to testify, and reality is going to catch up with perception. If we're going to be using music lyrics to try to convict somebody, you're going to have to prove that those music lyrics were not just artistic license. And so, that's what I'm curious to see how you connect the dots there to prove that, some of the biggest hip hop artists in Atlanta potentially are involved in this.
I know I told you that was my last question, but she said she had last question, but she had 10 afterwards.
No, I have no more questions, but for our listeners, I always like to make sure that they're following what Gerald was talking about. We call the law of primacy and recency, right? So you tend to remember that what you hear first and what you hear last, right? So primacy and recency. I got to get y'all that for free.
Do you think Lil Wayne will show up for this trial? Because a lot has been mentioned about his tour bus being shot up. Do you think he's material to this case?
Absolutely
well, how do you prove his tour bus was shot up without the witness saying my tour bus was shot up? So I don't know.
I think you could have that established by police, law enforcement.
You talking about Lil Wayne?
Officer who responded. Lil Wayne, a law enforcement officer had to respond to that. Did you respond? Did you have an opportunity to ascertain who was in whose tour bus that was? Yes, it was Lil Wayne. Did you have an opportunity to speak to Lil Wayne? I did. You don't have to tell me what you
Objection.
said, because that would be
You can't say
hearsay.
what Lil Wayne said. You can't say.
You can't say that.
Wayne
You can't say
said
that, but you can say I spoke to him. You ain't got to say the
people,
substance of.
You know,
But look, this bus. Did you examine the bus? Yeah. Did you find any bullet holes? Yep, I did.
Well, then how do you connect it to these individuals?
Oh, you didn't ask that question. You said, how do I connect Wayne how do I establish the bus was shot up without bringing Wayne in?
And if I'm the defense attorney, I object to all that. What does this have to do with anything? If the victim doesn't come in and say my tour bus was shot up and these guys shot it up because I saw them or I had some other way of perceiving information that's not secondhand, you gotta connect that. So the best evidence of that would be the person.
Right. What if Wayne doesn't know? Right. Does that mean that the crime didn't happen? Right. So if if I shoot up your house and you don't know that I shot up your house, does that mean your house wasn't shot up?
But if I as a member of YSL allegedly shot up the tour bus, there had to be a reason for me shooting up the tour bus, and that's what the prosecution is gonna have to prove.
Right, they do, but they don't need the victim for that. They don't need the victim. I might not know the reason why you want to shoot at me. Then
that gives me reasonable doubt built in. Reasonable doubt that why is this even relevant? Like there's no victim here. So
they can establish it. They can establish it through their circumstantial evidence for one reason or another. Why there was whatever beef there was between YSL and Wayne. I'm just saying they don't need Wayne to establish this fact. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if you remember, but the person that was accused of shooting up the bus, his case was overturned. Pee Wee
was, and it happened in Cobb County. So again, why is this relevant to anything that happened in Fulton County?
Right. I don't know how they prove it or how they say this is in furtherance of. Is this a label thing? Did they shoot up the bus so that they could make YSL more popular? Is that the argument? I don't know. But I don't think they need Wayne to establish his bus got shot. That's all I'm saying about the rest. As far as the other evidence, I don't think she'll be able to connect the dots on a lot of these things, none the least of which is that bus shooting.
Yeah, and that's why it's interesting to watch this. And it's made for TV. I gotta give it to not made for TV. It's made for live streaming. So,
Attorney Gerald Grace, please keep the link available because we might need you back up here to answer questions.
You leaving us, Gerald?
Yeah,
I got work to do or something.
I got to go back to the actual practice of law, So
oh, damn.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Dennis, for always being in the courtroom and bringing us the information directly. Because, again, if it wasn't for live stream, we wouldn't know anything that's going on in this courtroom outside of, the 5-second sound bites that say this witness came in to testify when, it's been 2 days of testimony. So, yeah. So I appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you, sir. We'll talk soon, and if we have an emergency call in, we're gonna reach out to you.
Okay, brother.
That's right, Gerald.
See you later.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
So that was good. That was good. We had.
Yeah, I like Gerald. Yeah, we need somebody that's local showing us how they do things down there, because that is a very weird thing to I'm not aware that we have anything like that, or it's never come up in New York where there has been some document that was that was entered into evidence but not allowed to be sent to the back for the jury to examine. That's
local court rules.
I know. I'm just trying to think of any other, and I'm gonna look up some things just for my own edification. Absolutely. All right. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Oh, Thugger was Leo said Thugger was beefing with Wayne. Thugger was beefing with Wayne. The Lord is blessing us. Akeisha's doing long lives. The little gaming channel. Yes, I am doing a long live today. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Oh, we cooking over here. We cooking.
We cooking and we educating. That's my thing. I'm about giving out information. I want people to be armed. So that we know exactly what we're watching. All right, let's go.
signed this paper that you have in front of you, the first time anyone had ever talked with you
No.
about
No.
statement number 5 that you just read?
No.
Go down to statement number 9. Would you read statement number 9 under defendant's factual acknowledgments?
Defendant is a person referred to as Tick in a song by Young Thug entitled Ill. In the verse, she getting robbed by Tick.
Is the day that you signed this paper the very first time anyone talked with you about statement number 9 under defendant's factual acknowledgments?
No.
Now, would you read statement number 10 under defendant's factual acknowledgments?
On February 4th, 2021, defendant participated in a group chat with fellow YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, and YSL associate One Elite, aka Shine Like Shawty, wherein Jeffrey Williams stated, YSL rule the world, kid. Y'all just started bringing me the money. Man, y'all stop playing with me.
Was the day that you signed, let me see, are your initials next to statement number 10?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials there?
No.
Was the day that you put your initials there the very first time anyone talked with you about statement number 10?
No.
Now, who is Mooney Lee? How often, or did you associate with Mooney Lee? Let's start there.
Yes.
And going to statement number 11, are your initials next to statement number 11?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials there?
No.
Would you read for the jury statement number 11?
On May 13th, 2021, defendant participated in a group chat with fellow YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, and YSL associates Martinez Arnold, Miles Farley, Trontavious Stephens, Antonio Sumner, and One Elite, wherein Jeffrey Williams asked y'all ain't beat him up or shot him yet, then states y'all getting soft.
Was the day that you signed States Exhibit 16 uniform the very first time anyone spoke with you about statement number 11?
No.
Let's look at statement number 12 under defendant's factual acknowledgments. Would you please read statement number 12?
The gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue is a location where YSL associates sell drugs.
Are your initials next to statement number 12?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials there?
No.
Is the date that you signed State 16 uniform the very first time anyone spoke with you about statement number 12?
No.
Good morning again, Mr. Stephens.
Morning.
On your break when the court recessed us, did you take State Exhibit 16 uniform with you?
Yes.
Is it why?
It was just stacked up on my papers. It was intentionally.
Did you read over it while you
No.
And did anyone from the state attempt to talk with you?
No.
Well, she should have made sure she had her exhibits. Don't put him out like he did
The
something
witness,
nefarious.
wow, right. The way she making it sound like he snuck and stole the exhibit.
Right. She's, oh my goodness.
Wow.
I mean, you're making it sound like this guy intentionally did it, and you should have
I
collected
see that part.
collected your exhibits.
You should have got it
before
back
you
from
left.
him before you concluded, and he left the stand. That's crazy. Wow. Okay.
We see what you're doing, Prosecutor Love. It's okay.
It's almost
And did you
over,
speak
right?
with anyone else?
No.
All right, then I'm going to give you 16 uniform back, okay? And if you would turn to page 4 of 5. So we were talking about number 12 under defendant's factual acknowledgments. Did anyone force you to put your initials next to number 12?
No.
And Was the date that you signed State's Exhibit 16 uniform the first time anyone had ever spoken with you about the statement made in number 12 under defendant's factual acknowledgement?
No.
Okay. Let's go to number 13. Would you please read?
Say it again.
It's like the 7th time she's asked the same question. Like every statement, she's asked the same question. And we're at statement number 12. So that's 12 times.
The baby is so big now. Did Mikey have a baby?
Mikey had a baby. Yeah, he got a little girl now.
Hey, Mikey, you got to Hey, Mikey, you got to show the baby at some point.
For the jury states 16 uniform at number 13 under defendant's factual acknowledgement.
The gas station at 221 Cleveland Avenue is a location where YSL associates sell drugs.
Are your initials next to number 13?
Yes.
Did anyone force you to put your initials next to them?
No.
And was the date that you signed State's Exhibit 16 uniform the very first time that anyone had ever spoken with you about the statement in number 13?
No.
So listen, he didn't smell like loud, and I think that would be a violation of his parole. I mean, his probation if he was smoking. So no, he wasn't.
Wow, isn't weed legal in Georgia?
Is it legal when you're on probation?
I don't know. Can't you drink on probation? You can't have a drink on probation?
Depends on what your terms of the probation is.
Yeah, I would imagine. Depends on the terms. So maybe he can, maybe he can't.
Because we learned through testimony that he was driving the Mercedes on his birthday, drinking and smoking behind the wheel. That's what we learned.
But wasn't that like 2015?
Right, but it's still reckless behavior. Can we agree on that?
I mean, but can we agree that you might not be doing the same shit you was doing 8 years ago?
Right. But that, when he did this plea, he might have said, I have a drug problem. He might have said he had other things that was going on. So they probably said, keep your nose clean.
He said, I will come testify. That's what he said. That's why he in the box.
The canary trying to say, I'm not calling you canary, but you sitting in the canary box.
Yeah, he sure is. He sure is. I don't know what snitch. I don't know what a snitch is, but I can show you one. You have a mirror?
The factual acknowledgments that you made. If I can grab 16 uniforms. By putting your initials next to each sentence, what was it that you were meaning to convey to anybody reading this document?
That I agreed to it.
That you agreed to it?
Yes.
Did you mean to convey as well that you agreed with it?
Yes.
And did you mean to convey that it was a true sentence?
Yeah.
I stand the objection. I sustain the objection.
Thank you.
By putting your initials next to each sentence, were you or was that any kind of acknowledgement that that sentence was in fact true?
Yes.
And is there any statement in defendant's factual acknowledgments that you put your initial next to that you are now saying was not true?
No.
Objection form. That's a terrible question.
And so
Ike, those two last questions were very significant because that would
Yeah,
be
they
the
are.
difference between you getting your agreement revoked and
Right.
they locked
Exactly.
me up right in the courtroom. So those two
Mhm.
questions were very important, and he answered
Yep.
he had to answer that way.
He answered them the way he had to answer them. Yep.
So all the other stuff was just window dressing, because when it gets down to the meat and potatoes,
But this is my point. Why didn't she start with this? We went all the way around the Marbury bush for 2 days about insignificant nonsense when you could have just started with this primacy and recency. The jury would remember that these are the statements that he has said are true.
That's it.
I don't like what. So
it didn't have to take 2 days.
I feel like she honestly strung this out so that she could have the weekend to collect herself and reassess how to better direct examine this witness, to conduct direct examination of this witness.
Okay, so
that's what I think.
Hold on. What is Frank talking about here? What is Frank talking about?
You not writing your words in. Why would you highlight that? That makes no sense.
I don't know, but I want him to see he makes no sense. So I highlight.
We don't need to highlight that. Got enough for no sense making on this video stream. So play it. Go ahead and play it.
Okay.
Did you have an opportunity to speak with your lawyer about these statements before you got into court and signed the document that it states Exhibit 16 uniform?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to tell your lawyer or even the state about any corrections that needed to be made?
Yes.
And did you instruct your lawyer or the state, either one, to make any corrections to defendant's factual acknowledgments?
No.
And this is what Starton and I was talking about. This is what we're talking about. This is where this helps the prosecution, because forget all the antics that were occurring before this. This guy is acknowledging what the prosecution's case is as it relates to his involvement in a gang. So the day before, he was on the line. Today, he's singing a different tune. So something happened between the time he went home and talked to whoever he needed to talk to.
He has to. I don't think so. He would have said this yesterday. He would have said, if she would have started out with this, he would have said this yesterday. This is, you can't get away from it. He signed it. His initials are there on every statement. On cross-examination, the lawyers are going to say, now, those statements, you didn't write them, right? You didn't write those statements, right? In fact, you only initialed them. The statements are already written for you, right? Those are not your words, right? And in fact, in order for you to get this deal, you had to agree that those were your words, right? And that's why you said you felt like you had been persuaded.
Right.
Right. That's how the defense is. You can come in and you can massage this, and he will give you everything you need. If you word it right, if you ask the question in the right way, you will get everything you need from this witness as a defense attorney, and you can undo that entire agreement.
Do you think at this point he snitched based on what he's saying now? Is he a snitch or not? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely. He's a snitch.
Okay.
He's a cooperating witness. By definition, that's what a snitch is.
Right. Okay.
Anyone who cooperates with law enforcement and was once a participant in the criminal activity and/or enterprise is a snitch.
And that's for you in the back.
Yeah. I mean, definitely.
Did you believe or did you understand that the ability to do that, did you think that it had any kind of consequences? Like, did you
Objection, Your Honor.
What?
Ambiguous.
Oral.
Confused. Yeah.
No.
Confusing. He ain't know what the hell he answering.
No, so she just asked him, did he think that him signing this had any like if signing this did it have any consequences?
Yeah, it was ridiculously. He said no. His answer was no.
Why would we not think it had consequences if they told him this during his allocution? Because he had to make an allocution to take the plea.
No, let's see what else he says. I didn't see this part.
So when you were talking about something that had changed, it was different. Do you see on
He's drinking a lot of that water. He's drinking a lot of water.
whatever it is that you're saying was changed or was different from when you spoke with your lawyer prior to coming into court and signing this document?
Yo.
Do I see something that was changed or different? That was my first time seeing the initial document with my eyes and physically.
When you say the initial document, what are you referring to?
That document.
Physically.
Yes.
And what, for you here testifying today, what significance does that fact have on your signature on this document?
I didn't make any, I wasn't making none of it. I just answered the question.
I didn't hear you.
I was just answering the question. I wasn't saying any significance to it.
Was there any reason that you said that when you signed this document, it was the first time you saw this document? Any reason for the jury?
Yes, with the question that you asked me. It went with the question that you asked me.
Okay. So was the question that I was asking at the time dealing with persuading you or anyone persuading you to sign this document?
I'm talking about the question you just asked me before the last.
I see what she's doing now. She's basically trying to let the jury know that whatever persuasion happened and she had nothing to do with it, he communicated with his attorney because he says that earlier. So I seen this in the Tory Lanez trial. I seen this when the young lady was on the stand, and that's how the statement came in during the trial, because the defense tried to suggest that the prosecution was intimidating the witness. So the judge said, based on that, I'm bringing the statement in from the September interview. So I'm seeing this play. I saw this play before.
That's question. That's the question that that's the question that me saying.
You said something, Ike?
I don't see the point of this. Right. I mean, she's going back to where she started with the question again on you were being not pressured, but well, not the word pressured, not pressured, but persuaded.
But see, I know why it's happening, because the day before it was looking crazy, and she had to make sure that the jurors didn't think that they were putting their hand on the scale on his neck so much that he knew that this was the best outcome for him based on his involvement in this alleged gang. So I see it. She's trying to clean it up right now, but she needs to keep moving this thing a little faster, because right now you'd already established that he signed the documents.
Right.
Yeah, she's doing a little. This is like,
if I'm a juror, I'm like, I got my mouth twisted.
And that went with.
And just for clarity and for the purpose of the record, what question is that?
can't remember that fast because due to me being tired, but at the time, that's how I was trying to answer the question. If you can repeat it, I can repeat my answer.
Are you going to simply answer the remaining questions truthfully?
Yes. That's all I've been being, truthfully.
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative.
Overruled, sir.
So, statement number 9. Defendant is the person referred to as Tick in the song by Young Thug entitled You. In the verse, She Getting Robbed by Tick. When or what label was that song released on?
I'm not sure.
Now, when you said that you are one of the founders of YSL, would you please tell the jury the name of each founder of YSL as you understand that word to me?
I answered that yesterday.
Would you please answer it for the jury as you know it today?
Jeffrey Williams, myself, Trontavious Stephens, and Walter Murphy.
And what is it that you were founded when you named yourselves YSL?
At the time, it was a possible.
It was what now?
At the time, it was a possible record label because at the time, they didn't even know the music was gonna reach the heights that the music reached.
Who is they? When you say at the time, they didn't really know.
I didn't say they.
Okay, I didn't hear.
I said at the time, man.
He did say that.
Yeah, I said at the time, we didn't know the heights that the music was gonna reach.
Okay. So it was a record label at the time you formed.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It ain't you, me. I'm tired. I'm sorry.
Okay. You need, you know.
No, I'm good.
See, when he said that, I caught what was happening. Because he's saying they have a role to play and we have a role to play. Their role is music. Our role is banging. Still in. It's good.
Right.
That's why she caught that. He's I didn't say that. Yes, you did, sir.
Yeah.
I can maintain.
He did say that.
Now,
I can manage. Not maintain.
when you founded this record label, do you remember where you were when you all?
Now, Ike, at this point, he's getting nervous. He's drinking a lot of water. He's looking up. He's looking around. He's not being convincing.
Because he can't act anymore. He can't act his way out of these statements, which is what she should have started with. Why you make this jury hate you? Only to come around to you had all this ammunition.
And it's getting real now. This is where it gets real. I think it might be a scene from Living Colors. We start pouring the water all over himself because this is getting really hot.
Go ahead. Oh my God.
Came up with it.
I don't recall.
And when you founded Young Slime Life along with Jeffrey Williams, is that what you call Mr. Williams? Jeffrey Williams?
That's his name.
I understand. What do you call him?
Call him my brother.
What else?
Bruh.
What else?
Overruled. I don't know. I don't feel like I call him Young Thug. That's for like people don't know him. I call him bruh or my brother. That's how I refer to him. Bruh or my brother.
Ever call him Slime?
I call him bruh or my brother.
Now, I would agree with motive. I would agree with this statement. Ike. You see the statement?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Look at
you know,
him,
but
everything quiet on them all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
when they say bum criminals, this guy's not the traditional John Gotti or Sam the Bull Gravano, or he's not that type of RICO defendant. And I get this, and they're hanging their hat on this guy. From it's obvious this guy didn't make no money with, like
he might have. I don't know. I can't say that. We don't know what this is part of his act. He coming in here looking all downtrodden, trying to get my CDL. Right. Until y'all free Jeffrey, so we could get back on. Right. Get
to that paper.
Get back to the business of making music.
Right.
And whatnot.
And the whatnot is
it's not like he doesn't make music. He has music out.
No, he is. Now I'm talking about him, not Thug. I'm talking about him.
Right. But
we have to understand that what some people do on their own time doesn't have anything to do with Thug. This guy may have been doing, and Thug could have just said, "Listen, man, I'm doing my thing. You gotta get your paper. That's on you. Whatever you're doing." Right. But this guy, I can tell you, Thug is one of the hardest working artists in music, like literally.
Right.
I had to, so we can't make light of the fact that sometimes you got people that are hanger-ons that they want to just attach themselves to your name, but they really not, but he did say in his testimony that
Young Thug mentions him in one of his songs. I think he's a little more than a hanger-on, right?
I'm trying to throw the guy a rope here. I'm trying to.
I clearly you are, but we got to consider all the evidence that's out there, and in these statements, push back on that just a tad.
Have you ever called him slime?
I probably have.
And when you called him slime, what was that intended to mean?
He's doing that blinking thing again.
It was basically short for what his record label stood for, or what is. Yeah, that's my answer.
If you were one of the.
Okay, here we go again. He's putting his foot in his mouth. What his record label stood for. What did you stand for?
Right.
His record label, but you're part of the.
Family members, why did you just refer to the record label as his record label?
Because on paper, it's his record label. The groundwork is his. That's something he built.
So on the date that State's Exhibit 10 Uniform Bravo, that Instagram post referring to you as one of the original founders.
Yes.
Was anything built that day?
I don't understand your question.
You said just now, and I asked you why did you refer to the label as his record label? Do you acknowledge still today that you're one of the founders of Young Slime Life?
Yes.
And if you're one of the founders of Young Slime Life, what does that mean if it doesn't mean it's yours too?
I don't know.
Wow.
I can't. I don't know.
Did you all incorporate the name in 2013 or 2014? Did you start with 2013? Did you incorporate the name Young Slime Life as a record label?
I didn't. I don't know.
So this is again, Ike. Just at this point, and she could have got here early on. She could have literally got here early on. It didn't take 2 days to get here, but she's here. And I don't know if this is the way you would approach this. I'm sure you wouldn't approach it this way, but what was there? What was out there where you think it should have took her this long to get here? Because she has the documents. She has to.
This is what I'm saying. She just demonstrated that she could have done this 3 hours ago or the day before.
Artfully.
You know what I'm saying?
With all this, she could have did this artfully.
I don't know about artfully. Clear, that might be us. We might be giving her too much credit.
Don't do that. I gotta see her. I gotta see her next week. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're not coming to court with me. And they watch my channel.
Yeah.
I like. I
might get you.
Oh yeah, no, you have to come in, counselor. Guys, you see what she's doing here? You're going to see an outburst. The judge is going to be screaming on me next week. Oh my goodness. Here we go.
Right, because you can't be talking about her.
Did you go around referring to yourselves as young slime lives?
Yes.
And why is it that you aren't able to tell the jury anything about what happened to a record label? Do you even know if a record label was ever incorporated entitled Young Slime Life?
You just asked me two questions at the same time. Which one you want me to answer?
The one that says, do you know if a record label was ever incorporated entitled Young Slime Life?
I don't know.
Are you able to explain to the jury why you wouldn't know something like that if it was your intention to form a record label when you created or founded Young Slime Life?
Argumentative.
No, I'm not able to. I can't explain how business idea transpired. No, I'm not able to.
What were your contributions to Young Slime Life as a founder?
Who said he contributed anything? Assume facts not in evidence.
I didn't contribute anything.
Exactly.
That's maybe why the reason why I'm not an owner of it or anything. Yeah, I didn't contribute anything.
This is going downhill real quick right now. If I was one of the jury, I'm like, okay. So if you're part of a record label, but you didn't contribute anything, but you co-founded. So what was your role? Did you carry the CDs? Did you like this?
Well, why did she ask him that? Why she's too busy leading him?
Right. What did you do?
Ask open questions. Exactly. She's not, and they're not objecting to her leading right now.
When you say you didn't contribute anything, what is it that you're referring to not contributing anything to?
Again, you can't refer to something that doesn't exist.
The question that you asked me.
Tell you what I didn't give?
What did you not contribute anything to?
Objection.
The question that you asked me.
Was it the record label belonging to Jeffrey Williams that you did not contribute anything to?
Yes.
This is so stupid.
Is it fair to say that the record label that was incorporated is different than the gang that was started when you all created Young Slime Life?
Objection, meeting.
Objection.
I sustain the objection. You can rephrase.
That's right. You can't. The gang you created. Really?
Would you explain to the jury the difference or the distinction between Jeffrey Williams' record label and the gang Young Slime Life?
Same objection. Same objection. But they don't make it.
Positivity and negativity. Positivity and negativity. The label that Jeffrey Williams created was based on positivity, and
Did he just
the game was negative.
And did the gang precede? Did you all form it before Jeffrey Williams started his record label?
What? questions are so bad.
YSL is a music label, so music happened first. That was the approach, music.
Mr. Stephens, do you remember your testimony about 15 seconds ago?
Oh, God.
Can you rephrase the question? It kind of, I answered the best to my ability.
Which question do you want me to rephrase?
What you asking me?
It's an improper question, Your Honor. Ask the district attorney, just ask the question, not ask the question.
I don't need your help, Mr. Steele, okay? All right. I don't need your help. You need to give me a basis for the objection, okay? That's all I need from you.
Improper way to ask the witness a question.
Improper foundation?
Foundation and form.
Okay. I'll sustain as the form of the question. You can rephrase, madam.
Your Honor, the witness asked a question.
Madam,
for clarity.
same thing, okay?
Wow.
Just rephrase the question, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. What is it that you need me to ask again, Mr. Stephens?
I mean,
You just said a whole lot. So, whatever you feel like that you didn't get my answer to, I feel like I answered your question to the best of my ability. So, if you...
Mr. Stephens, do you understand counsel's question?
No, sir.
All right, why don't you just rephrase the question, madam? Back up 2 questions.
Yes, sir. Mr. Stephens, do you recall me asking?
Why is the judge acting like the prosecutor? Back up 2 questions. So she's giving
to the objection, the question that you sustained, Judge. Like
right. Back up 2 questions, Your Honor. They have enough lawyers at the prosecution's table,
right? To help. He gotta help his girl. You know, he gotta help his girl.
Asking you what your contributions to Young Slime Life were.
Yes.
And do you recall referring to his record label?
Yes.
Do you recall my asking you why you referred to his record label?
I thought that was the direction your question was going in.
Do you recall me asking you why you referred to his record label?
Yes, you just asked me that.
And so, do you recall responding that the record label is something that Jeffrey Williams built?
Yes.
And do you recall me asking you the distinction between Young Slime Life, the game, and the record label Jeffrey Williams built?
Yes.
And do you recall answering for the jury that the record label was positivity and that the game was negativity?
Yes.
And is Young Slime Life, the game, the entity, the thing that you were one of the founding members of?
No, I was the music.
You were a founding member of the...
Oh my God.
So I committed crimes while being a part of YSL. So
YSL what? Young Slime Life?
yes,
The game?
just YSL.
I'm asking you about Young Slime Life, the game.
I'm trying to answer the question.
Okay. I'm asking you about Young Slime Life, the game.
So I committed crimes while being a part of YSL. So by me committing crimes by being a part of YSL, that was basis to say that YSL was a game. Because...
Wait a minute. I'm sorry.
Your Honor, I'm asking you to finish your answer.
I think he's finished already. So were you done with your answer?
And it was non-responsive.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
So this is yes or no?
So-
I mean,
Sir, please sit down. Please sit down. Thank you. Just please sit down, okay? I don't need any help from you, okay? All right. And there's no objection on the floor. So, all right?
To that last series is that court, I would ask the court to allow the witness.
He's finished the statement. There's nothing else. It's like if he asks to continue his statement, then fine. But sit down and stop interrupting, Mr. Matthews.
Wow. What do you think about that, counselor?
I think that's ridiculous. And if I was Mr. Matthews, after this proceeding was over and the jury was to decide, I would put it on the record that I don't appreciate the judge yelling at me in front of the judge, in front of the jury, and making it suggest that I'm interrupting the proceedings and making it seem as if I'm deliberately interrupting these proceedings in some kind of untoward way when I'm doing my job, and they might draw a negative inference against me or my client. And I'd ask the court to not do that. Don't do that. Don't admonish me when I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. That's not how you speak to me. That's not how you speak. We are professionals. This is unacceptable for you to speak to me that way.
It's ugly display of the profession. It's an ugly display.
It is ugly. It is so ugly. It's so unprofessional. And why? Why? I mean, like, it's one of those things. Like, my dad would be like, "You must have a really small dick." Like, that's my dad. This is what my dad, like, you know what I mean? He'd be, this is small penis behavior. Like, unfortunately, like, why are you doing that? Are you deliberately trying to emasculate the other male lawyers in the room? Is that
Absolutely.
what's happening?
And that's what I'm saying. And the jury is literally listening to this. And you got to think that this guy is running the courtroom with a long stick. Pause.
For what, though? It doesn't. I don't see any of those lawyers.
This can only benefit
prosecution.
The prosecution.
Right. I don't see any of those lawyers being particularly unprofessional, unruly, disrespectful, not having the appropriate deference to the bench. I don't see that happening, so that this behavior is warranted. You know what I mean? That it's not a measured response. It's not a measured response. And the man is trying to do his job, and he's not being mean or nasty. Right? He could say back to the judge, like, "Judge, I understand that, but this needs to be said." Like, he could do that and then have the judge lose his mind and all of that. But this is just not necessary. It's so not necessary. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Is it an ego thing?
And right, they both put their pants on in the morning and take them off in the evening.
We all got the same degree. We all have the same degree. We all got Juris Doctor's degrees and whatnot. It's just the superiority complex. I don't know what is going on, but it's not. It's horrible to witness. It is horrible to witness.
Let's go.
Mr. Stephens, are you finished with your last response, or did you finish? Was there anything else you were going to say?
but I lost my train of thoughts, Your Honor.
He was going to say something.
But I mean, she can continue.
No. If you weren't finished, we'll let you finish that statement if you wish to. But you have to.
I don't wish to.
All right. When you trail off, what happens is that the examiner thinks that you're done. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And that's causing a little bit of confusion because the folks out here think you want to say more things. So if you have more things to say, just go ahead and just continue to talk, okay?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to my best ability.
And complete your answer.
Yes, sir.
Fair enough?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
That's what he could have said from the beginning. He didn't need to get nasty and snap and chew that man's head off like that. Oh,
Mr.
And then
Stephens,
so Matthews
what
was leaving, holding his ankles.
colors are associated with Young's Limelight? Again.
All colors?
Mr. Stephens, would you do me a favor and tell me, you ever heard the word snitch?
Yes.
And what does the word snitching mean to you?
How'd she go from color to snitching? You abandoning that line of questioning?
Excuse me, Miss
Did
Lowe.
she abandon-
Madam in the black, get rid of your gum. Remove yourself from my courtroom and get rid of your gum. In the earrings, you. Yes, you. Get rid of your gum.
Okay,
Was
so
she tearing that gum up?
she's chewing the gum, but the dog under his bed, like under the table, has got a bell on, and that's also distracting. And I see how the sheriff is, she's one of the members of one of the family members of one of the defendants. Now,
Okay.
this is getting really uncomfortable because there are people that are literally eating in the courtroom from the defense side, and I get it. That this is the only time they have opportunity to.
Right, they're sitting there all day. I can see the defense, but not the family members.
Yeah, but I never had a judge tell me stop chewing gum. Well, I don't chew gum really, but I don't really see that happening. Like people chew gum, like.
That's why I'm asking. Was she chewing it?
I didn't hear it. Did you didn't hear it on the.
Was it an audible chew?
Right, but you don't hear that you don't hear that in the video.
I don't hear anything, no. But that doesn't mean maybe the mic is not sensitive enough to pick it up. But
did
he see her? Was she visually maybe disturbing? You know how some people might visually chew.
Well, I think maybe she
like,
did
oh God.
She blew a bubble, like came out. Maybe that.
Oh God. You can't be in court blowing bubbles. You lying. You lying. She ain't
just kidding.
Oh my goodness. I think he was just irritated at this point, and the littlest thing would have set him off. And which is why we got like 30 more seconds, and then he's like, you know what? It's 12 o'clock. I said a hard stop at 12 o'clock.
Right. We're at DEFCON 3 right now.
Yeah. He had the dog.
I apologize, Miss Lowe.
The judge had a what do you call those dogs? Support animal.
So we almost finished. This is about a few more.
All right, madam, you may continue.
You may answer, Mr. Stephens. What does snitching mean to you?
It doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm aware of the term that yes, I'm aware.
What is the meaning of the term? What's the definition?
It doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm aware of the term.
Boy, it means a lot to a lot of people because you there understand snitching.
It don't mean nothing to me, but I'm aware of the term.
How are you aware of the term?
I've heard the term.
How do you understand the term to be used?
It's in my plea agreement.
I'm not aware of the term to be used. Yeah, indicating that a person is a law enforcement or something.
Or something.
Indicating that a person is law enforcement or some nature.
So are you able to use snitching in a sentence?
Yes.
Please use it the way you understand it to be properly used in a sentence.
I heard someone is a snitch.
And that someone, and that someone
is me.
And please explain how, in that sentence, snitch refers to law enforcement.
She shouldn't be going down this rabbit hole with him. This is bullshit. She knows what
I can't.
Don't.
Why did you use it that way?
And that is.
I mean, I've seen movies, and
What are you saying, Ike?
That's argumentative. When you say, why did you say that? That's argumentative.
Right. What's the point of that question? Because that is not one of the names that YSL goes by, snitch. So why are you bringing that up? What is the purpose?
Nobody objected to relevance. Maybe she's going somewhere with it that he's a snitch. Eventually, I'm assuming she's going to say something about him being a snitch and, you know, how that is affecting his life or whatever may have you, and whether he's safe or he fears for his safety, because this is a dangerous gang, you know. So she's got to make sure that comes out, that his life is in danger. I'm sure that's got to be where she's going. No?
Yeah, I would think, but we'll know back on Monday. But let's finish. This is about to come to a conclusion.
Okay.
that's the direction that the movie was going in. Maybe even used the term. Maybe even got it from like movies. Yeah.
And the way you understand the term, is it a good thing or a bad thing to be known as a snitch?
You really got to think about that, dude?
Listen, I counted 22 blinks, and usually you about to lie. 22 blinks.
If he say so, you got to lie.
I really don't fully understand the term.
Ms. Love, this might be a stopping point at this point in time, okay?
Yes, sir.
Given it's pretty close to noon, all right?
Wow, Ike, what do you think? What do you think, Ike? What do you think about this testimony, Ike, at this point in time?
I think the testimony has got to be almost over. It's got to be. She's got to. I don't know what else she could be possibly covering. I assume she's asking him about the snitching, because she's going to try to say that, you know, he's afraid and he's in fear for his safety, which of course he's going to deny, right? He's going to say, "I'm not afraid. I'm here. I'm in front of the world testifying. I didn't ask to be close. I didn't ask for anything like that." So, you know, he's going to try to push back on that. And that should be the end of it. Honestly, I don't know what else she could. What else is she's going to get from this witness? I really don't. And I think I think he did enough to keep the deal.
He's established the key points,
and you know, we'll see how the chips lie. You know, see where the chips lie.
Well, this cross is going to be interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I think this.
The cross will be, man. Listen, what I got Monday. I got Pilates. I got some stuff to do on Monday. I'll be in and out on Monday. I'm gonna be in and out because I got a few things going on Monday. But maybe we can touch base Monday night.
I have the
Monday
footage.
night.
Don't worry. I have the footage. Monday night is good. I have the footage for you. With that, right. This is probably a perfect stop as well.
Monday night.
This is probably a perfect stop for us as well. I want to thank.
So we'll be back Monday night. I will be on. Okay.
You got a delay.
Let me just say this real quick before you do your thank yous.
Okay.
Since we'll be back here Monday, I have a delay.
You have a delay.
Okay.
You're back now.
Okay.
The delay's good. You good now.
I didn't before. I don't know what happened. Now it's good.
You're good. You good.
Still delayed?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You did good.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the show. Well, thank you, Attorney Akeisha Al-Shabazz, for joining the show. And this has been a great show. This is great commentary. very informative. We definitely see where this case is going at this point with this witness. And again, I look forward to the next phase in this case, because the sparks haven't even started flying yet. It has, somewhat, but if this is the star witness, I don't know. We have to see. We have to see, for real.
We shall see.
I really
we shall see. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you. And what else is there to say? But just make sure you tune in next week for our continuation of the coverage of the YSL trial featuring Young Thug, Jeffrey Williams, and his other 5 co-defendants. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here.
That I'm from, they'll put a halo on anybody, Lord. Not too many I can say that got me, Lord. Even when I go astray, I'm still your son. Even on a cloudy day, that's time.
Well, I love you.
I love you too. I always will.
Yep.
Don't you forget it.
I won't. Nice talking to you. I'm glad you called me.
Okay, baby.
All right, love you. See you later.
I love you too. Bye-bye.